bring me some clothes. He goes, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to join that rocking contest. He goes, you crazy. I said, you don't get me that, I'm going to stab you, bro. And he told me, okay, I'll get you the clothes. He got me the clothes. That next Saturday, March 5th or 6th, something like that.
What year?
I left the hospital, went to the contest, joined the contest, and won. I beat everybody. I beat Little Dave was in the finals with me. I beat Little Dave in the finals.
That's amazing. Now, what year was this?
1980.
1980, you go to that rock dance and you got stitches?
I got the stitches still in my neck. I left the hospital.
And you ended up doing the finals at the end.
I beat everybody.
Who was doing that contest? Like, how did that contest
Little
come
Dennis
about?
And his brother Israel.
And it was just rock dance, nothing else?
Yeah, just rock, to see who's the best rock of all crews.
Wow.
Everybody came out. Who thought it was good came. And
do you have a name already, or you had a bigger name after you won that battle?
RC.
But I'm saying, like, after you beat Little Dave, which you were watching him before you doing it, and you beating him now, your name blew up, I'm going to imagine.
Well, what happened was, once I won, I told everybody, oh, I'm not going to be RC no more. My partner and everybody was like, what are you going to call yourself? I said, I'm going to be King UpRock because I beat the best. That's it. Ain't nobody beat me. I'm King UpRock. From now on, I'm King UpRock.
So that's where the name came about.
That's when the name came.
It
wasn't a King UpRock back competition. I call myself because I beat all these great dancers. Little Danny Boy, all of them. I beat them all.
Little Dave was on the throne. Little Dave was on the throne.
The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Flash Talks, History Worth Listening to. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we have another special guest. I am so honored and so happy and so grateful to do this show tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, let's introduce to you Ralph King UpRock Casanova, a true pioneer in hip-hop history, is a veteran of UpRock dance. He's currently rocking to the best of his abilities in top form with so much love for this dance. Born in the Boogie Down Bronx, moved to Brooklyn at age of 5 years old. While growing up in Brooklyn, he watched gangsters uprocking and was interested at the age of 10. King UpRock has inspired and taught thousands of dancers across the world and has paved the way for most of the early 90s Bboys and Bgirls in New York City and worldwide. He was one of the only few to be doing dollar jams in New York City, and he's still doing it today, providing a place for the youth to practice and battle in his competitions. King UpRock is a living legend and is one of my first mentors in this dance called rocking, along with several others from his camp. This legendary rocker that is still working with the community and passing the torch to the new generation of dynasty rockers. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put your hands together for King UpRock. Queen UpRock. Yes, 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 yes. Welcome to Flash Talks, my brother. Oh my God, I'm so excited to do this show right now. Thank you for being part of this show. How you like the intro?
Love it, love it. Great, great show.
But welcome to Flash Talks, man. It's been in the works, and I finally got you here. And let's talk about your history, man. And that's what we're here for, to highlight you. And basically, I'm doing this show to pay my respect to you, to give you my flowers now that you're still here with us, and to make sure everyone in the entire world knows who you are, how you started, where you went, what have you done for the community of hip hop culture and everyone around the world. So, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you for being here. And how you like what you see right now? Like, talk to me.
I love it. What's amazing is that the elements that you have on there, I'm kind of part of four elements.
You are. That's for sure. You are. And in fact, you were probably there back then before they even came together, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Right, right.
They will
So,
call us a
so
disc. They will call me a DJ. Call me a disco DJ.
Oh, okay, a disco DJ. Now, I know that the whole culture didn't come together when you started rocking and you started doing everything else, but we're going to start off with the first question. How were you introduced to the culture, meaning the beginnings? Like, it doesn't have to be exactly when all the elements were together, but the beginnings. Like, let's talk about Ralph when you were 10 years old, when you started seeing everything happening in New York City. Like, talk to us about your beginnings.
Well, at age of 5 years old, I was playing piano and drums. My father was a famous musician. Played with Tito Puentes and all these people. And when they were kids, my father was, teaching a lot of these, salseros before it wasn't even called
Okay.
salseros. And my uncle was Papo Pepin. He's the number one conguero. He plays with Willie Colon, Ray de la Paz. He plays with so many great salsa bands. That's how I got into playing instruments. But as time grew up, when I moved to Bushwick, I saw the gangs fighting. It looked like they were fighting, but they were music, like they were dancing. And I
Yeah.
was a little younger than 10, and I used to mimic them. When I got 10 years old, is when my brother told them, "Yo, why are you teaching my brother all this dance?" And they didn't know because they didn't know I was watching. I would practice
Hmm.
in the basement, and then my brother called me upstairs and told me to dance in front of them. And I was scared because I was like, I'm telling my brother, "Yo, I'm gonna get in trouble," because I didn't want them to know that I was learning from them by watching. And
Yeah.
then I danced. They told me, "Hey, shorty, you're gonna be a good rocker. You're gonna be good. You keep it up." And 10 years old, I was really good. I won some dance contests at 10 years, like in the block parties. They had like little
Hmm.
dance competition, and I won some, some like $20, or you win some candy or toys. But I learned how to dance because of my mom. My mom was a great dancer. And when my mom saw me dancing, she goes, "What are you doing?" And I say, "Oh, it's a dance. They call it the rock." She go, "What is it?" And I try to explain to her, and she'd show me footage of Gene Kelly, the Nicholas brothers, the Barry brothers,
Oh,
all these
wow.
famous dancers. She goes, "Look! What this is what dance is all about." And since my mother was a great salsa dancer, she showed me how to shake my shoulders. She showed me how to mimic with the hand, because back in the days, salsa dances, if you was a salsa dancer, you would battle, like my mother would battle the conguero. He would do something, my
Okay.
mother had to do it in dance. So that was the old Latin style of dancing. And watching my mom, and my mom showing me how to use my hands and my gestures, that's how I became good at what I did, because my mom was a great dancer.
Now, how old were you around that time? And let's try to think about like what year, if you can remember. I know
Well,
it's way back in the days.
1969, 1969,
Wow.
I was going to be 6. So, in the Christmas time, like, like today's, we're in December, we have the Three Kings, and usually you will go to somebody else's house. They all play with instruments, and they sing all these Spanish songs. But I was more not into the Spanish. I was more into the disco and the funk and the soul, because my older brother, he was into the funk and soul. But I used to play drums, that's what I used to practice with, you know, the Jackson 5, Temptations, and I was good as a little kid. So the music gender for me was more the funk and soul disco. But my family was a salsa to the heart. You know what I'm saying? So
Okay, so now is this in the Bronx and Brooklyn?
this
Like
is in
you're in New
Brooklyn.
York
This is
City?
in Brooklyn. Brooklyn.
Okay, so this is in Brooklyn now.
Yeah,
You
I moved
moved
to
from the
Brooklyn in
Bronx?
1969.
Okay, so you were born and raised in for a few years in the Bronx, and then you
Yeah,
went
and
to
I moved.
Brooklyn.
Yeah,
Okay,
because
so
the landlords, they were telling my dad that the people from Vietnam wasn't paying rent and stuff like that, so they were going to burn the building down for insurance. So that's why we moved. And my grandmother, she gave my father money to put down for a house in Brooklyn. At that time, the house was worth like $20,000 in
wow.
1969. So she gave some money to my father to put down for the house, and that's when we bought the house in Bushwick.
Okay, so have you been there since, or
Yeah, yeah,
you
I
ended up
passed
moving to
by.
different spots?
Well, I lived in Bushwick for a long time, and then I moved around Bushwick. We went to, my father had sold a house as I got older, and then I lived in Hancock Street. I lived on Knickerbocker, but I always grew up in Bushwick. And then there was a time, like when I got married and everything, I lived in Connecticut, but I was still working in New York, so I would travel every day. Now I moved back to Queens. I live in Queens now,
Oh, so
and
you in
I live.
Queens now? Because I know when
Yeah,
I met you, you were still in Brooklyn, and
yeah, I
this
was
is
in
like
Brooklyn. Yeah,
early 90s, like 93,
yeah.
94, around there. And I remember I met you with Burn and I believe Forrest, because you guys used to
Forest,
hang
yes,
out a
yeah,
lot.
Forest,
You guys
yes.
will always like meet up, or so many different places back then that we'll meet up. But I remember I remember you telling me you were from Brooklyn, which that's actually my beginnings of like going to Brooklyn, Queens.
Mhm.
That's how I met Kid Freeze. And we'll talk about that later on. But let's go back to when you were 6 years old. You're watching your mom dancing, and she's battling the people that are dancing salsa. And now where you were mentioning in the Bronx, they were burning all the buildings, because I remember me being born in the 70s. I
Mhm.
remember in the 80s when I would go to the BX to visit my uncles, the majority of buildings were burnt. So
Yes,
I'm assuming that it had to do with the whole insurance and
yes,
trying
yes.
to push people out, because
See,
then you're gonna.
I lived in the South Bronx. I lived on Tiffany and Fox, right next to
Okay,
Southern
okay.
Boulevard, like Hunts Point. I lived in the South Bronx. With Bambaataa,
Wow.
them, that's not the South Bronx. That's like East Bronx. I lived in the
Okay.
South Bronx. I grew up
Yes,
in the South
and
Bronx.
that's when the heat. That's where it
Yeah,
was really crazy, right?
yes, yeah.
So
I
now
mean,
when
my,
you
my
move to.
uncles live in the Bronx too. You know, my uncles and
Okay.
my aunts. We all, matter of fact, my aunt lived in the same building where Bambaataa lived in.
Nice. Look at
Yep.
that. And this is it's a big city, but a small city when it comes to like people that are dancers, that are into entertainment. Now you're in Brooklyn. Now you're 6 years old and you're watching all this going on. You come from a Puerto Rican background, correct?
Yes.
So
Yes.
you're hearing music every single day, even when they're
Well,
cooking, even when they're cleaning. Like you grew up around music.
well, yeah. My father taught me how to play piano and drums when I was 5. So every day I had to practice, even when I was 6, 7 years old. And if I didn't practice, I got a beating. He used to beat me. He told me, "You're gonna play,
Oh,
learn how to play, learn how to play." Plus, I was doing martial arts at 5 years old because Bruce Lee was my idol, and I was very good in fighting. So my mom put me in martial arts school, and that's how I learned how to fight really good because I was a Bruce Lee fanatic. I have a Bruce Lee museum in my house. I have stuff of Bruce Lee and stuff. You'll be amazed if you saw what I have. But
no, I know. And when I met you, because I was already doing martial arts, you mentioned that to me. And in
yeah,
fact, this past weekend, I was in Miami and I ran into Chilsky and I was like, yo, Chilsky, let me tell you something. The only two brothers in my entire life that I have ever met that are such a Bruce Lee fanatic is Chilsky and King UpRock. And he was like, yeah, man. He started showing me the tattoos and all that. And I'm like, yo, man, like you guys probably compete to see like who has the most Bruce Lee things, because I
now
remember
I beat
way
him. I
back you used
beat
to
him.
talk. Okay. One day we'll have to see who got the most, because I know, like you've been mentioning Bruce Lee for the longest. So now you're in Brooklyn, you're surrounded around music. Now, were you watching anyone like UpRock, like, or you were just seeing people disco dancing? Like how was it that it made you see UpRock and you're like, I like that. I want to try that. Like, when was it the first time you started seeing people kind of doing weird acrobatics? Because I'm gonna assume you didn't even know what that type of dance was, correct?
No, I didn't know, but the like I said, the rebels were used to dance in the corner where I lived at, and I was like the fourth house from the corner, and the kid next door, Jose, his sister was dating one of the rebels, so that's how I
Okay.
got to find out they call it the rock dance. But the gangs didn't dance like a more in a competition. They just burned. That's all they did. They didn't freestyle. They just jerks and burns, jerks and burns, jerks and burns. And then as I got older, I saw other guys doing more freestyle. So that's how I had to learn how to freestyle, because everybody kept telling me, "You're a good burner, but you don't know how to dance. You don't know how to freestyle." And I kept saying, "Yeah, but that's what I learned from the gangs. That's all they do was burns. They don't freestyle. They never did
Now, was
freestyle."
there Apache line at that time? They're going at each other, or they were just lining
Well,
up
no,
and
the Apache
doing it
line
separately?
came, the Apache line that Apache from the Devil Rebels, that was different. The way the Apache line, that's when you join a gang, you had to pass the line. They hit you with chains and sticks, whatever. Or when you left the gang, you had to leave that in that way. So as I got older, Crazy Rob, who did all the rock contests, he's the one that put the Apache line where, because back then people used to rock and they would touch and they get into a fight. Boom, 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 boom. So what he did was he put the line so you stay on one side, the other guy stays on the other side, no touching. That way they get to see who's a better dancer by your burns and your dancing, and that's how they pick the winner.
Now, what year was that when you said that's his name, Crazy Rob?
Yeah, Crazy Rob. He was the
Uh,
one. He did a lot of the rock contests in the early 70s. He did disco. He did DJ battles. But in '73 was the first rock contest in St. Barbara's Church, and that's how we knew about the line. You know.
Okay, so you went. Did you go to that first event?
No, I didn't go to the first one. Some of the guys that went that were older, that like Big Tito and Victor, they would tell me, "Oh, there was a line, and we never heard of no line." People always complain, and I was like, "What's the what do you mean by line?" And they explained to me, but and I got like another year later, I started seeing the line, and that's how people started doing the line, because it prevented people from fighting. That's what happened.
Ah, okay. Now, like, how old were you around that time when
11,
that
12,
happened? Oh,
11,
11,
12.
12. Okay. Now, what were you
Yeah,
doing
because I
around
was in the
11, 12?
streets.
You were in the streets. You were doing martial arts already?
No, I was really good in martial arts by 12 years old.
What style of martial arts you were training at that time?
I did kung fu first, and then I did arnis a little bit. But arnis I learned later on. But then I learned kempo and aikido.
Oh, nice, nice. Okay. So you're doing Kempo, you're doing Aikido, you're doing some Arnis and all that stuff, and some Kung Fu.
Yeah.
So you started with the traditional dope
Yes.
basics where the
Yes.
style. Now, would you consider that some of your style with uprocking comes from the martial arts of Kung Fu forms and stuff like that?
Yes, because the way if a person throws a punch and you duck and you strike, I use it the same method and format in rocking. So when a guy tries to burn me, I'm gonna like this, move out of the way so he don't catch me, but I'm gonna catch him. Why? As he miss, I'm gonna catch. It's like boxing. You throw a punch, and every time you counter, every time you
Yes.
miss, I counter. You miss, I counter. So that I use the same format in rocking.
Now you were mentioning boxing just now. I know you're still boxing, you're still training, you're probably coaching. When did you get into boxing? Because you were doing martial arts, but you didn't mention boxing. Was it a little
Yeah,
bit
well,
later?
martial arts I started at 5. Boxing I started at 10. I went to Best Eye Boxing Gym.
Okay, so you're in Best at Boxing, and the majority, I'm gonna assume there was a lot of Italians around that time, or
No,
was it mostly
Morenos,
blacks or
black guy.
Puerto
It's in Bed
Ricans?
Stuy. This was in Bed Stuy
Oh, Best Eye in that time. So
in
is this
Brooklyn. Yeah,
what year? What year you would say?
1973.
Okay, so 1973, you're a boxer. Now, I know I have a picture of you with some gloves with doing the golden gloves, but you're a little bit older because you cannot be 10 there.
No, no,
But
no.
let me show you real quick. Boom, right there. Look at you, brother.
Yeah, that
That's
picture
amazing.
I
What was
was
this? Talk to us about that right there.
that picture I did a comeback because I was the oldest guy in the Golden Gloves, and I was like 26 years old because there was after a while they put a age limit, and I wanted to go back, and I went all the way to the semifinals, but they tried to rob me because I was fighting 156 because I used to fight 147, and the guy they put me with, I dropped him twice. He hit me with a low blow. They took a point, but the guy was 175 pounds. He was in the wrong class. They
Oh,
didn't want me to win
definitely.
that year. So my trainer Jimmy O was a great trainer in New York City. I had George Washington, then I had Jimmy O, and they told me, "Oh, listen, you're in the finals because the guy that said they say he beat you in the decision, um, he's 175 pounds. He got disqualified." And I say, you know what? I'm not going back because if you jerk me once, you're going to jerk me again. So I didn't go back for that gloves, but I won others. I had Spanish gloves. There was other fights that I was winning. I had, so that I didn't get a loss in that record, but I had 28 fights, 27 knockouts. And the 28
Nice.
fight, there was a friend of mine. He was tall, and we did a show fight, and I didn't want to knock him out, so I just beat him in decision.
Okay. Now, if you go back to, because I know we jumped to 26 years old, but when you're 10, 11, 12, and you're watching the people, the rebels, kind of like, just burning, and you're kind of learning and understanding the
Mhm.
UpRock, the rock dance and all that, and
Yeah.
you hear about that competition, and they're telling you about the line, and you were mentioning that earlier. Now, you were boxing already there, correct?
Yes, I was boxing already. Yes.
Now, were you entering competitions like around
Yeah,
that time? Like,
they had show fights. Back then they had show fights. One
okay,
gym
as a
will fight
kid.
another gym.
Now, do you ever
Yeah.
do wrestling? Do you ever do like other stuff besides
Well,
like that type
wrestling, I
of?
tried it. I tried it in high school. The wrestling, not the WWE wrestling, like the Olympic
Yeah, the
wrestling.
real wrestling.
Yeah, but I didn't really like it.
Okay, you didn't like it, but you were more like moving because you're watching. Who were your inspirations at that time that you were watching as a boxer? Because I'm gonna assume Muhammad Ali and all the other cats
Well, my
like that,
favorite
right?
two fighters is Ali and Sugar Ray Leonard.
Nice. Which it's crazy that I just found out that Mike Tyson was a big idol of both of them that you just mentioned.
Now,
And
what people don't know is Shannon Briggs, he was the heavyweight champion. He's from Bronxville. He went to Styra City. Me and Jimmy O, we trained him when he was young. And Mike
wow.
Tyson came to Bed-Stuy Boxing Gym where I worked with him also with when George Washington trained him when he first started learning how to box before he went to Catskill. He came to
Yeah, before
Bed-Stuy
he
Boxing
met
Gym.
Customado and all
Yeah,
that,
before he
right?
got locked up and he went to upstate to the kids jail.
Yes.
Then
The
Customado
juvenile.
took him out and took him to the Catskill. But we had Ray Hot Pepper. He was a flyweight champion in Bed-Stuy. And we had Mark Breland. Mark Breland and me had the same trainer. We fought at the same weight. You know who was
Now.
another guy? Another guy is Reddick Bull. Reddick Bull was a
Oh
heavyweight
wow,
champion.
Reddick
But Reddick
Bull.
Bull was 139 pounds. I sparred Reddick Bull when he was 139.
So he started gaining the weight and switching
He gained
from.
weight late as he got older. He gained weight, but because I'm older than those guys, I'm older than Mike Tyson. I'm older than Shannon. All these guys. I'm like 5 or 6 years older than those guys. I'll be 60. Those guys are like 54, 55 years old. I'm older than them.
Correct.
So when they were like 11, 12, I was already like 15, 16 years old. I was older than them.
So now you're in the boxing, you're doing martial arts. I'm gonna assume you're living in Brooklyn, so you got gangs all over. This is the '70s. This is a highlight of like gangs everywhere. Now,
Yeah.
were you constantly fighting gang members in the street on your block or another block where they call you and be like, "Yo, you gotta fight this person because this is our block"? Like, talk to us about, because I know there's probably some really interesting stories when you
Well,
were around the age.
honestly, everybody who knew me because of my music and everything else and knew I was a great fighter, I never really got into fights like that. Unless like the rebels, let's say the rebels had a trouble with some older guy and their little brother, I would have to fight the little brother. or they had a problem with a little kid, they would send me or Victor's big little brother or one of the other little baby rebels to fight. But that was it. But I really didn't fight often like that unless it was tournaments, because I was always training and I was playing baseball too. I was playing for the Bonnies on Prospect Park. They were like a little league. I play against Gil Hodgers and you and all these other teams, Reggie Jackson League, and I was a good track runner. I ran track, so I broke a lot of records in track. I still got my awards. I still got my medals, and I got a lot of baseball trophies because I was a good center field. I was 14 years old. I looked like I was 20 years old. I didn't send you that
Wow.
picture, but if I were to send you that picture, you won't believe I was 14. And the reason why I know I'm 14 because I got shot in my neck when I was going to be 15,
Oh,
like
wow.
like 2 weeks before my birthday,
You got
and playing
shot in
Russian
the
roulette.
neck before you're 15 years old.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that story, but while you're boxing, doing martial arts, playing baseball, it sounds like you're trying to find yourself as an athlete, as a person that is trying to, like, you're in Brooklyn, so there's so many things going on in the streets at that time. You're keeping yourself focused with something to do, like, like kind of like an escape goal will be boxing. Were you leaning a lot on the rock dance yet, or you weren't really getting serious into it? Like, what was your feeling of, like, up rocking at that time, that you were like, I'm gonna start training more in the rock dance, or you didn't get into it till later on? Like,
No, I
talk to us
just
about
no.
that.
I was good at it. I usually practice or teach. Other guys from other crews because I like teaching. I like a lot of guys were my friend, even though they were in other crews. I didn't mind teaching them and helping them. But the thing with me is I could do so many, and I'm a fast learner. I could do things real quick, and I don't even have to practice certain things, and I'm still good at it. Like I play Skelly to this day, and I could play all these street games, and people tell me, "Man, you still got it. You don't even practice." Like I don't practice rocking. Honestly, right now I don't practice. If I go to the dance floor, I know how to kill it. I won't embarrass myself. I know what to do and what my body
Well,
could do. You
you're a
know?
grandmaster at this, man. You've been doing this way more. Like, there's people that are 25, 30 years old. You were already doing it way before that, so you're at the level of master. It's in your blood already, meaning it's like kind of like when you wake up and you get off the bed, you don't have to think about it. It's
Mhm,
something that it's in your blood, and you don't have to train it anymore. It's kind of like in the kung fu movies.
mhm.
The kung fu master goes, you go to the mountain and you visit the kung fu master. He might not show everything, but then if you get down with the person, immediately he's gonna be like flat, 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 and without practice, because you've
Mhm.
been doing this so long.
Like
So
right now,
it
for example, I have a lot of young kids that I train, or people I train boxing. I spar with them, and people telling me, "Why at your age you're going to go in with these young kids to spar?" Because I'm that good. That's why.
and keeps yourself young. It keeps you
Well, no,
moving.
it's
It's a
just
little workout too.
I have to show and prove. If you're going to be better than me, you got to beat me. That's how it is.
That's and now, will you consider that everything, all your learnings from martial arts, you had your coaches, you had all of these guys like helping you out and kind of like giving you that discipline? Would you say that helped you a lot in your rock dance career?
Yeah, everything you learn, everything your loyalty, being loyal. That's the main thing about today. You have to be loyal. You have to only be loyal to yourself first to be loyal to everybody else. You have to respect what you do and always understand that every day is a new learning. You learn something different every day. Sometimes I could watch you do something and say, "Oh man, you know what? I'm gonna learn. I'm gonna do something different with that move he just did." Or I take your move and upgrade it. I'm still in that. I still got that memory. Thank God for my age that I can still do that. But my reflex is still good. I mean, I still. If people don't believe for my size, a guy, I can move that fast. You know.
Which, like I said, you've been doing this so long, it's like nature to you, like very, very, very easy. Now, at that time, back in the days, who were your mentors, your teachers that were kind of guiding you? Like, giving them a shout out, people that you were looking up to, that they were guiding you, that were telling you this is the way, don't do it that way. Like, talk to us about that.
Well, I think the person who guided me was God. for being alive and having the skills. Back then in the 70s, you didn't have nobody teaching. Every like I said, you watched this guy. If he was a good dancer, you went home, you study him, and that's how I became King UpRock in 1980 because I studied the Little Dave, I studied Danny Boy, I studied Buzz, Cuz, Duz, all these guys, Rocky Nelson, all these guys, great dancers. They were great. I knew how to dance just like them. I can mimic them like a copycat.
Now
Like a
you
true
never had a
copycat.
custom model next to you, like
No, nobody. No, just you just got to know the song, and you know how they do things because some people just repeat themselves. That's why if I dance a song one time and I dance it again, people say you don't dance it. You never dance the same. It's because it's the feeling, the expression that I'm doing. I might feel good one day, not feel good the other day, but I learned that when you out there, you just gotta you gotta have good reflex, and the reflex is what helped me win. As for boxing and martial arts, the reflex, I was able to get out, come in, burn, get out, come in, and a lot of guys wasn't used to that type of thing. So, and then if I took some salsa moves and changed it into a dancing, into a funk and soul move, I created that myself. You know what I'm saying? I create my own stuff, my own style. Everybody has their own styles, but I was good in what I did, and I call when we were with the people in the street dancing or DJing or graffiti, whatever. We were ghetto celebrities because we did it to be popular, you know,
mhm.
to the
Yeah.
world, to impress the girls, and just show that you was positive. That's all. Just being positive.
Now, do you back then while you're learning all this and you're watching the highlight of like music, salsa, I'm gonna assume mambo, because I
Yeah.
know you said that salsa was named later on, with the Fania All Stars, the Hector
Yeah.
Lavoe,
Mhm.
like Eddie Palmieri, like all those dudes that were creating the salsa in New York City. Were you involved a lot mostly on the music side, like besides being that you got a family background that were musicians? Were you like performing? Were you helping out? Were you doing internships with people that were doing music stuff?
Mhm. Well, no, in the Spanish, I really didn't participate like my cousins. They were really, they play congas and bongos and everything else. I didn't. My father wanted. Sometimes he would play and bring me on the stage to play. Like a piano thing. I'll play some stuff, but I didn't. You could tell I didn't want to do it. I was more into the funk and soul disco. I didn't know. Just I was.
And where did that come from? That you're like, the fact that you have Puerto Rican families like me. I'm Dominican, but it's kind of the same. Puerto Rico, Cuba, we all Tainos
Yeah.
ancestors. But what made you lean more on the funk and the breaks and all that instead of like aiming more at the that typical Puerto Rican type of thing that you're listening to, because you got your ancestors there are
Yeah.
playing the salsa, you play some disco funk, they'll look at you like, what are you doing? So
Yeah.
what
My
made you
dad.
lean that way?
Well, because you watch TV shows and you're watching Soul Train and all these American Bandstand and all these shows. The Jackson Five and all these Temptations and the Four Tops, and in school, when you're in school, that's what the music was, the funk and soul disco. That's what it was, dancing the hustle, and stuff like that. So as you get older, dances change, a little music changes. As I got into the lofting, I did Webo dance. I'm not afraid to say I love dancing, but I was a good salsa dancer, not really, but hustle I was pretty good. And and my peers that I grew around didn't really dance the salsa, wasn't into that salsa. More my
now
my,
now
my cousins was.
Now, were like, back then, there's parties, there's house party, there's different things that are going on, and you're a dancer, you're a great dancer, and you know this, and you could compete, and you probably rock against somebody, and you
Mhm.
battle. Now, you say you weren't pretty good at dancing salsa. Now, they give you the solo, you're in there. But let's say a girl at that time, you're at parties. Sometimes they want to dance. Were you be shy to really dance with the ladies, like all that,
I
or will
was
you dance
I
for a
wouldn't
little
be
bit and
shy.
you
I
let
wouldn't
go of
dance.
them?
I wouldn't dance at all. Salsa no.
Now you would just stay behind and you wait for that break beat or
I
that
would
funk to
wait. I
come
would
in.
wait for something that I could dance to and go off. I wasn't gonna play
Okay.
myself.
So you were like, I ain't going there. I'm gonna wait for that
Nah.
perfect part to go in.
Like when they
Now,
had jams back in the days, they would play, disco. They would play some funk. They would play this. They would play salsa, and then they would play some up rocking, and then we get down, and then they'll play something else, and then at the end they'll play slow jams to end the jam. I
that's
would dance slow.
correct.
I
That's
would dance slow.
yes. Now, before your name King Uprock,
Yeah.
who were the top names that you can remember that they were like the top like rock dancers that people you mentioned Little Dave, you mentioned a couple other guys, but try to remember names that you were listening to or you were watching or somebody told you, oh man, he's the best guy. Like try to name some names from back in the day that you remember. Like some of them I remember the names that I've heard through the years, like Manny Quinones and other dudes like that. Like try to remember back then
Well, the
who were
top
those
names
names.
the top names you could worry about was Little Dave, Rocky Nelson, Danny Boy from Dynasty, Carlos from
Okay.
Dynasty. Carlos was the founder of Dynasty. Um, you had Cuz, they were good. Buzz, it was good. Um, and I'm talking about just one on one. Little Tito from Dynasty, Noel, he was
Hmm.
good, and then myself, White Boy Gary was pretty good. He was in Junior Dynasty. So we had Dynasty, then we had Junior Dynasty, we had the Girl Dynasty, and then we had Baby Dynasty. We had like 4 different
Oh,
divisions
okay.
of
So
rocking
you were
crew.
down with a crew already?
I was with Dynasty.
Oh, so you were already down with Dynasty. At what
Yeah.
age and what year was it that they put you down?
Well, I was in Dynasty first when we became Sounds of Dynasty because we couldn't wear the Carlos didn't want to wear colors until we got like
Correct.
76, 77. He started wearing colors. But I got Carlos into DJing. But we were dancing already, and I knew Carlos before he even danced because we used to fix bikes. We used to get bike parts from another street and get another bike, and we would make a bike and then sell the bike.
Nice. And what about Rocky Nelson? I've heard that name
Rocky
being
Nelson
thrown
was an
out.
MTC. He had this.
Papo, I've heard of Papo too, Junior of Dynamic Spinners. Like
Well,
who are those
Papo
guys?
774 that he calls himself because we don't. I never knew 774. I know him by Papo and Jr. They were freestyle routines. They did great routines. When it came to a routine contest, they were phenomenal. But they got beat by Little Tito and Eddie Stop. They got beat by Little Dave and his partner Papo. I was there. I witnessed this. So it's not like and everybody knows. And I can bring the guys and they will admit it because, sometimes you get a loss, you got a loss. You got to take it. There's no excuse. But but Papo to me and JR were the top freestyle dancers when it came to routines. Now, one-on-one, strictly rock and rock, I would have to give Danny Boy that light or Carlos.
Now,
Carlos
who
was
was
like
your
fast.
rivals? Who was your rivals at that
Our
time?
rivals were Touch of Rock. We beat on one-on-one rockers. We beat them for their shirts. We burned them for their shirts. Uh, we battled Brooklyn Rockers. I used to be then I took over Nasty Rockers by myself. I took that crew over and I put some of those guys into the junior dynasties. I
Now,
took
were
them.
they all dancers or some of them were gang members?
No, these are all rocking crews. We had over 100 rocking crews. I have a list of all the rocking crews back in the
Back
day.
then in the 70s.
Yes, 100 rocking crews.
And this is before you saw even people spinning and doing
Yeah,
all
before
that,
I
right?
saw that in '79 when I went to USA. That I went there to because somebody told me, "Oh, you got to go to USA," and I said, "USA, where's that?" And then they told me it was in Queens because we had skating rinks in Bushwick. We had the Oasis. I mean, the Oasis was in Ridgewood. We had a Empire skating rink was on Broadway Myrtle, and then we had another one that was right on Myrtle Broadway. But so I went there with one of the girls from Dynasty. We went to USA, and that's how I bumped into Dynamic Rockers, the original
And this
Rockers
is the
from
first time. This is the first time you show up and you see B-boys like a crew,
yeah.
and that this is the one you started seeing people spinning and all that.
Yeah, because I didn't. I saw Dynamic Rockers. I was like, Dynamic Rockers, okay. So I told the girl, get down. She got down. She started burning them.
And
Then
what's
I
her
got
name?
down.
What's her name? What's
Jeanette.
that girl's name?
Jeanette.
Jeanette.
Yeah.
Okay, now did she have a dancing name? Was she
No,
pretty
no. Back
dope?
then I was RC, so it was like your initials or your name. We didn't have like a B-boy name. So
Oh,
then,
so the okay.
so Dynamic that I met was from Astoria. Nelly
Eh,
Nell,
okay,
Kid Freeze,
name them. I wanted you to name
yeah,
them.
Kid Freeze, Bebop, Ace, his brother Dennis. I think Wavy Legs was there. His name was but I didn't know him as Wavy Legs at that time. I knew him, his real name Edison. So
Okay.
a lot of those guys I met, and then when they saw me UpRocking, they was like, "Yo, where you from?" I said, "I'm from Bushwick." They were like, "I'm like, yo, what is that thing you guys were doing?" They were like, "Yo, breaking." I was like, "Breaking? What? I never heard of that. Because I never saw it since 1979. I never seen it."
Plus, you heard
like,
the name Dynamic Rockers. You're thinking that's a
they
rocking
were
crew,
rocking
right?
crew, but they wasn't a rocking crew. They were a breaking crew.
So
then,
you're looking for the rockers
oh
somewhere,
yeah,
right?
that's what I wanted. I wasn't gonna get on the. I was looking at them. I'm not gonna get down the floor. I didn't know how to do no footwork or nothing. And that's when they decided they wanted me to be down with them. They were gonna teach me breaking, and I would help them with the rocking. And that's what I got down with them for a while. And then after a while, I couldn't go too much to Astoria because I lived in Bushwick. And then I met my boy Kick. He was a touch of rock. He knew fast break from the floor masters in the Bronx, and that's how I met Flex and all those guys. And then he took me to the Bronx. I met them. I saw what they were doing. Then when I went back home, this guy named Viejo, who was the leader of the Mastermind Rockers, he wanted me to be down with them, but I told him no. I'm in Dynasty. I can't be down with you guys. He goes, no, but you learn how to break. We're becoming a breaking crew. And I said, okay, I'll get down with you guys. Because the guys in Bushwick, the Rockers, they didn't like that breaking thing. They were like, I'm not getting on the floor, getting my clothes dirty. Nah, they hated it. They didn't like it. I tried to teach them. I was the first guy in Bushwick breaking. Nobody liked it except younger kids. And Mr. Loose, he joined Mastermind because he was my popper. I gave him that name, Mr. Loose. He was my popper.
Oh, so Loose comes from popping, not
He's
from
a
rocking?
popper. He wasn't up rocking. He was known as Carlos, but in popping, he got his name, Mr. Loose.
That's amazing.
Kid Wiggles,
Now,
I gave Kid Wiggles his name. The original Kid Wiggles, rest in peace. I gave him that name. I got
this is before Mr. Wiggles, correct?
No, this Kid Wiggles was before Mr. Wiggles.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So now you go to USA. Is the USA? Is that like that's a club, right?
No, it's a skating ring.
Oh, so it's a skating ring. So you show up looking for them rockers because there you hear Dynamic Rockers. You meet them. Now, do you get to meet Airborne, Spidey, Glide,
No,
there?
Those guys were later. Those guys wasn't.
Oh, so they came after. So you met the original.
According
Dynamic. So when you're meeting, they were like, okay, these are according to your eyes, because you're there, you witness it, you're watching this. This is not something somebody's telling you.
Chapter. There was only the Astoria chapter. There was no other chapter.
And none of them were rocking. All of them were just breaking.
Nah, they didn't know how to rock. They did that like almost like with Rocksteady, did the up and down, up and down.
Oh yeah. The quick leg like
they
that.
Saw me with the original jerks and everything. They was like, "Whoa, what is this guy? Who's this guy?" So Kid Freeze became more my teacher in the breaking because he's the one who taught me power. He became my power move teacher. I used to go to his mother's house in his mother's living room, and he would teach me power. And he told me, "Listen, you got to create your own moves." And he opened my mind to create stuff. That's why I did the head glide like he does. He calls it a head glide. I got a head glide. His head glide, he does it with his hands. My head glide, I cross the floor. You know, like you get on your head.
Like this, yeah.
Like you just with your head, you just push and you cross like that, you know. Then I did the knee spin. Then I got a thing called the scrambler that I invented, you know, and I did the first elbow spins like this. I was the first one to do it.
And what year was this that you're trying these moves and you created? Like 80, 81, 1981?
82. I have videos. I think I send you a thing where you saw my cousin with the blue windbreaker. Yes. That's my cousin, Mr. Break. Those guys, I started teaching all the kids in Bushwick.
Now, were you in yellow?
Huh?
Were you in yellow or
No, the yellow one was my partner, Mr. Footwork. I'm the guy with the. You'll see me. I have a blue shirt with the big afro. I just came from karate class, and I just went in the down.
Oh,
They
so
my
you're doing martial arts, and where were you guys practicing at?
in
Like
my
you
basement.
guys.
I had DJ equipment and everything in my basement.
Oh,
All
okay,
that was filmed in
okay.
my basement.
Nice. So this is all happening in your basement. This is at your mom's house, or this is your own place?
Yeah, my mom's house. It was a fourth. It was a 6 family house, but we owned the. We owned the. You know, we could use the basement, so that's where I have my equipment, and that's where we used to practice.
Wow. So now let me show you a little bit of footage of that you're mentioning right here.
That's my cousin.
So now that. So who's that?
My cousin, Mr. Break.
Okay. And then who's that? Looking like Bruce Lee.
That's my partner, Mr. Footwork.
I'm gonna lower it a little bit. Right there. There you go. So now this is all happening at your basement.
Yes.
And you're just there throwing the. What type of floor was that?
It's it was a cardboard.
Who's that right there?
That's my cousin, Mr. Break. They're battling against each other because my cousin wanted to be my partner, and I said, well, if you beat him, you could be my partner, but my cousin lost.
Okay, now so he was training. Like these are guys that are around you, just breaking a lot. Or
I was the leader of Mastermind crew in Bushwick. I had my own division. That's me right there.
Okay. Let me rewind it right there.
That's me doing the hang
man,
glide.
look at you, brother. Wait, you a lefty?
No, I could spin on my left, but I'm righty.
Oh, okay. And what year? This is 81?
This one is, I think it's 82, 83.
And what type of music you guys were dancing to at that time there when you're practicing?
That's me right there, practicing with my partner, showing them how to do
that's you right there?
Yeah, that's me, see?
Right, okay, about to go in right now. Wow. Also, there's like a linoleum in the ground, right?
Yeah, that one is linoleum now. We finally got linoleum, but the first one was cardboard. That's my partner.
Man, look how raw you guys look.
Yo, we used to go to jams and contests, and we would win contests easy. We didn't have to join. We won.
Look at that. You grab T-shirts and stuff to spin on it?
Yeah. We learn everything. We practice every day. I was trying to show them stuff like, that Kid Free showed me. I would show them. See, I was the first one to do hang glides backwards.
Oh, you were there trying and like, I'm going to do it the
This is
other
why I
way
was practicing doing it backwards. I was getting this move. Because I see everybody do it forward. I said, I'm going to do it backwards. And I did. I was the first one to doing it backwards. And that's my other boy's son, brother. He had good turtles.
Now, all these moves that you guys are watching and practicing and all that, and you guys are also creating moves, what was the inspiration? Like you just hear thinking?
With Kid Freeze. Kid Freeze was our mentor.
Oh, okay. So Kid Freeze was your breaking mentor and helping you out and all that.
This guy right here, he was a popper in my crew, but he wanted to learn how to break, so we started teaching him little by little until he got good, But he's good in popping. He's really good in popping. He liked that West Coast popping.
Okay, and now back to you. So you're training, you're practicing, you're breaking, you're doing all your thing there, and you're learning from Kid Freeze all the power moves and stuff. But you were already a master. Would you consider yourself a master already at rocking? Like you consider yourself really good?
At that time, rocking was dying out because breaking was coming in. So a lot of the guys that didn't rock no more because everybody was like in New York City was breaking. And the rockers, there wasn't that many rock contests in the late, like 80, after 83, 84, it was all breaking contests, breaking. Or they started calling it a break dance. But I was the only one that knew how to break in Bushwick. So all the younger kids or guys had little brothers, I started teaching them because they wanted to learn. They loved the way I was spinning on my head and everything. They wanted to learn. So Kid Freeze was my mentor, and he opened my mind to create moves. And I got to give him the love, man. He deserves it. He was the man. He's the man that created windmills, tracks, continuous head spins, so many moves. I got stuff on him that I don't even want to. I want him to mention it because he has to tell his story.
And
I
at
know I
that
was there.
time, you were there, and you can say
Yes,
he was the creator of continuous head spins,
windmills, tracks,
windmills as well.
yeah, halos, all those things. He was the guy there. We all witnessed it. We all know all the original dynamic. We all know that Rocksteady know. A lot of people know when Kid Freeze came on the floor. He was the Bruce Lee of breaking. I was the uprocking, Bruce Lee of rocking. He was the Bruce Lee of breaking. That's how I look.
Wow. Now, do you know about other B-boys and B-girls around that were nasty, like let's say Incredible Breakers, Chino and
Oh yeah,
Brian and them?
I danced with a little bit with Credible Breakers, Chino and Brian, Flo, Nasty Nest, all those guys. You know, I used to hang out with Chino and Brian. They my brothers, Sammy, Eddie, all of those guys. I know New York City Breakers. I know I knew when they were Floor Masters.
So you started meeting everybody in different
I knew
spots?
Scrambly Feet. I knew Love Disco Style from Williamsburg. They were cruising, Mastermind from Williamsburg. They started in Williamsburg. There was a lot of crews back then. I got along with everybody because I was humble. I was, the way let me tell you something. A lot of people say bad things about me, that I was on drugs, that I'm a gangster, that I steal. I don't know where you're getting all that from. Because me, if you don't know me personally, you could give me all the bad names. When people meet me, they see the positive person that I am. And I always give and willing to show and share and help people so they can grow. Because it's not about me, it's about everybody. So for all you guys who want to give me bad names and talk bad about me, keep it up. There's a God out there, and he will pay. You're going to pay the price, because that's not good at what you do. That's not hip hop. That's not what you call hip hop. Then if that's hip hop, I'm not hip hop, because I don't talk bad about people. It's all about dancing, and that's how you take it on the floor, and that's it. It's over.
Yes,
like
and you're the winner, you lose, right?
I keep moving on. That's it. It's no disrespect.
Awesome. Now, if you can go back to being a rookie, what would you tell yourself and why? So let's say if there's a time machine, there's a portal right next to your living room right now, and you go through that portal and you see Little Ralph, Little King UpRock, and you're like, and he knows you come from the future. What would you tell him and why?
I would tell him that always continue helping people and never let negativity people stop you from your goal, because your dream that God puts in you is meant for you, not for everybody else. And not everybody's going to agree with your dream. So continue doing what you could do. And maybe I would have changed of trying to learn how to do sponsor letters and do different things, so that I could have had major companies help me make it, what I did, make it even bigger and better. But God is always there for me. God deserves all the glory that I've done. God deserves everything I've done. Because without God, I would never have been alive since I got shot in my neck. I'd have been dead. I would have been dead at 15 years old.
Talk to us about that situation, if you don't mind, because it's always good to know, to let the new generation, especially the new generation from now, which is a really interesting generation. I usually call it the entitled generation. That's what I call it now, because it was very difficult. My era, and I'm a Generation X, and you're 2 generations before me. So I want the listeners and the people that are watching this to understand how it used to be back then in the 70s, and you growing up, and you just telling us the story before you were 15.
Well, when you grew up back then, there was only a couple of things you could do. You were either home in the house because your parents were church people, like a Pentecostal or something. You wasn't going outside playing that much. And there were some people who did hang out, and there's street guys. There were people who joined gangs. I was part of it in a way, yes, in the Baby Rebels, but I got away from that. I got a chance to get away from that and do bigger and better things with sports and dancing, and DJing and doing parties and making money and doing sweet 16s and stuff like that, and weddings. So I was blessed to be able to get away from that. But back then, there wasn't too many things, there wasn't too many opportunities like today that you can get somebody to teach you and help you, and you can go to this country and go to that country. Nobody was thinking about that. Nobody ever thought that this dance will go nowhere but wherever it was at, New York, whatever. So
And you guys are just trying to figure it out. That's all you're
yeah,
trying
we're
to
just
do,
living
right?
the life. Whatever comes, we're trying to be good at it, and that's it. Whatever comes next, we try to be good at it, whatever. But in the 90s, I kind of like wanted, I was dancing. My son was young, and I was
But
in a
wait,
black party.
before we go to the 90s, we gotta go back to you. We're 14 years old to tell us the story about you getting
Well,
shot.
we were going to a dance contest at St. Barbara's, right? And what happened was my boy Carlos, he was in my school. We used to call him LTD, Long Tall and Doofy, because he was a Puerto Rican long tall guy. So me and my partner Lucan, we was there. So it was like, yo, let's hang out. So we hanged out in Carlos' house. It was on Jefferson between Irving and Knickerbocker. I lived 2 miles away. I lived on Madison Street, right?
Okay.
So they was like, oh yeah, let's do this, let's do that. So Carlos was like, let's just call girls. Let's see if we could bring girls to the house, whatever. So I was like, yo, Carlos, your dad's gonna come. He's like, oh no, my dad is not gonna come tonight, whatever. He's staying over at his brother's house. So he figured, let's do a party here, but we were going to a jam. So he said, yo, I have a gun. I said, you ain't got no gun. Come on. Because he wasn't that type of guy. He was younger than me, but he was a humble dude. He wasn't a real gangster. Like, I used to carry pistols sometimes. Because if I had to fight, guys wouldn't fight me one-on-one, so they'd jump me.
And this is when you were a little rebel?
Huh?
You were a little rebel?
Rebels, I didn't care about. I mean, if I was going somewhere and I knew it was going to be like dangerous, I wasn't going to go just empty-handed,
No. Yeah,
so,
definitely.
What you do, you carry your gun, whatever you have, or your nunchucks, whatever, So we went to Carlos' house, and then he had this gun, it looked like a toy gun, like a cap, those little cap things that you put in.
Yes.
Shoot it. So I told him, you want to be tough, Carlos? You're not a tough guy. And he goes, oh no, it's a real gun. So I said, oh, I go, it's a real gun. Let's play Russian roulette. So I turned the thing. And I go like this, and nothing happened. So I spin it again. My partner went, nothing would happen. Then somebody knocked on the door, tum, 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 tum. And he goes, yo, put it away. I'm like, put it away. I told my partner, yo, this guy thinks that we're scared that this cap gun, he's trying to make it look like a real gun. So the people were looking for some family who was on the second floor. So they closed the door, and I said, Carlos, okay, since this is a real gun, you go next. He goes, no, you go, because I went. I said, no, you didn't. They knocked on the door. And he goes, nah, they didn't do it. So I say, all right, I went like this. So when I was going to go, when I went to put it in my head, right, I don't know, for some reason, I shot it, and the thing went, I saw a flame, and it caught me in the neck.
What?
Yeah, because I was like this, right? And then I kind of shot it, and it caught me. I saw a flame, like a flame. Yeah. And then I was like, holy sweat. I said, what kind of, and it was it was a 22. So,
but was it a big POW?
No, a 22, little 22 with little bullets.
Oh, okay. So little bullets.
Yeah. So then, the guy started getting nervous, like, yo, where the bullets at? My partner goes, yo, Ralph, you're bleeding. I go, Lucan, this is not a good time to play games, man. Let's stop playing games. He goes, no, you're bleeding. Look. So when I went like this, I said, where? He goes, over here. And I went like this. I saw the blood in my hand. I said, holy sweat, I shot myself. So I ran out of the house. I started walking home, putting pressure on my neck. And these two old ladies saw me bleeding. And they was like, oh, somebody help him. He's bleeding. So I'm thinking, holy sweat, they're going to think I'm robbing these two ladies. So I started to run. Oh, man, the more I ran, the more the blood kept coming out. Bleeding. By the time I got home, my whole clothes were full of blood. I put in my clothes in the washing machine, trying to wash the clothes. My mother was around the corner of my aunt's house. They were having a party. So she was over there. And then the next minute, 20 minutes later, the cops knocking on my door, telling me, you are Ralph RC? I'm like, yeah. He goes, why you got to come with us? I said, why? You're not, I'm not getting arrested. Why I'm getting, you got shot. You got to take you to the hospital. I said, no, I didn't. I was shaving. They go, yeah, right. All right, let's go. Put clothes on. I had to put clothes on, and they took me to Wyckoff Hospital. And this was 2 days before my birthday, February 25th. The 23rd. My birthday was February 25th. I was like, oh my God, my mother's gonna kill me, man. I was so scared of my mom. I wasn't worried about the bullet. I was worried about my mom. Because I had a strict mom, And yes. when she came, and the next day she told me they had me on stitches. Well, I can show you this. You see, it goes
No,
like
I
this.
remember. I remember you
Yeah,
showing it to me when I first met you
and
way back.
I felt bad because I felt like I left my mom down. Then my father was like, "Oh, you see, you let him go outside late, go and hang around with the hoodlum dudes, and look what happened. Look what happened to him." And like my father blamed my mom, but it was my mom's fault. It was my fault. I shouldn't even play that game. But I wasn't worried. I was just stupid. I don't know what to tell you. I was
Yeah,
retarded, whatever. I don't know.
one of the words is we're young and dumb at that
I
time,
missed
right?
the main vein. I missed it. I missed it.
Wow, man.
And they took it out, and I stood there for like 1 week, and then the next week they was having a rocking contest to see who was the number one rocker. And I told my partner, Lucan, Lucan, you gotta do me a favor. Go to my house, tell my mother that you're gonna get your clothes, because he would stay over my house. He was like a brother to me. I said, well, bring me some clothes. He goes, what are you gonna do? I said, I'm going to join that rocking contest. He goes, you crazy. I said, you don't get me that, I'm gonna stab you, bro. And he told me, okay, I'll get you the clothes. He got me the clothes. That next Saturday, March 5th or 6th, something like that.
What year?
I left the hospital, went to the contest, joined the contest, and won. I beat everybody. I beat Little Dave was in the finals with me. I beat Little Dave in the finals.
That's amazing. Now, what year was this?
1980.
1980, you go to that rock dance and you got stitches?
I got the stitches still in my neck. I left the hospital.
And you ended up doing the finals at the end.
I beat everybody.
Who was doing that contest? Like, how did that contest
Little
come
Dennis
about?
and his brother Israel.
And it was just rock dance, nothing else?
Yeah, just rock to see who's the best rock of all crews.
Wow.
Everybody came out. Who thought it was good came. And
do you have a name already, or you had a bigger name after you won that battle?
RC.
But I'm saying, like, after you beat Little Dave, which you were watching him before you doing it, and you beating him now, your name blew up, I'm gonna imagine.
Well, what happened was, once I won, I told everybody, "Oh, I'm not gonna be RC no more." My partner and everybody was like, "What are you gonna call yourself?" I said, "I'm gonna be King UpRock because I beat the best. That's it. Ain't nobody beat me. I'm King UpRock. From now on, I'm King UpRock."
So that's where the name came about.
That's when the name came.
You took
it wasn't a King UpRock back competition. I called myself because I beat all these great dancers. Little Danny Boy, all of them. I beat them all.
Little Dave was on the throne. Little Dave was on the throne.
Yeah, if I didn't beat Little Dave and all these guys, I would have just stood RC. But since I won and I beat Little Dave, I knew I was the king now. Nobody could take that away from me.
That's so amazing.
When I got into breaking, my name was Mr. Nice.
Oh, okay. So you got your name was Mr. Nice, and in UpRocking, your name was King UpRock.
King UpRock.
Now, were you Mr. Nice in what crew?
When I took over Mastermind.
Oh, so you took over Mastermind. Who will you pay the credit to creating Mastermind Rockers?
A guy named Viejo. Pat, rest in peace.
Viejo, and
of the Mastermind Rockers in Brooklyn, but his cousin. There was a Mastermind crew in the Bronx before he became Mastermind Rockers, but they were Mastermind crew. And Rick 183rd from the Bronx, Mastermind started over there. They were a breaking crew, and then I think they became a gang. But then he came to when he lived in Ridgewood, and he was hanging around in Williamsburg. He called it Mastermind Rockers, Viejo.
That's amazing. Now that you went through this battle, you beat Little Dave, you're King UpRock. Now, where's your mind at? You got the king. Now you're the king.
Well,
what happened after that?
I was trying to see how I'm going to dominate the breaking scene, but I couldn't do it. Brian, Float, Kid Freeze, and German. I knew German pretty good, and another guy, Flip, that he was in Scrambling Feet. I taught that kid Flip. I taught he was down with me at first. But the breaking scene was a little different. But I couldn't be no king in that one. That one I knew.
When you saw Chino, Float, Kid Freeze doing everything,
I couldn't catch up to those guys. Those guys was on another level.
All right. I hope you guys are enjoying the show right now. But this is gonna really help me a lot if you guys subscribe, share it, post it. this is not only going to help me, but it's going to help the hip hop culture. So, on that note, we're going to carry on. Now, I know that that's a different time, and now we're in 2022. We're in a complete generation. Now, in the current state of hip hop culture, what is something you would like to change?
I just wish everybody will just unite and be more together. Sometimes people see your dream and you get your dream and it becomes, your dream goes big. And then the people behind you who didn't believe in you hate you for what you accomplish.
Yeah,
You
they
know,
resent you.
yeah. So, and then they start talking that you're a liar, that you didn't do this. I got proof of everything I have to say. So I don't know what people have to say. You want to come to my house? I'll show you pictures I never show nobody else. But the thing is, everybody has their own history, and everybody, if you really think you're that good, then let's battle on the dance floor. This is all about. It's about dancing. It's not about personal. Don't talk about my family. Don't talk about my kids. Because now it's a personal thing. Now, how I'm
Now
gonna
it's a
come to you,
different thing.
you're not gonna like it. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely, definitely. So basically, what you're trying to say, and for the kids that are listening, or any generation that came after King UpRock, you're basically saying keep it on the dance floor.
Yeah. And number two
That's
is
it.
don't listen to people who say, oh, King Up Rock is like this and that. Find out for yourself. If I come to disrespect you and the person said that I'm that type of person, now you could say, yeah, this guy told me and I learned for myself. Never believe other people, because there's only haters out there who's hating on the people who are doing great things. Like the new generation, they're doing phenomenal things. I'm amazed and I'm so happy. Even the thing with the Olympics, I'm happy with that. Even though I was the first guy to be called for the Olympics, because I'm the only guy who did kids events for the Dollar Jam, I got kicked out. I don't know how I got kicked out. Now you got Cross One, you got Crazy Legs, you got all these other guys. But they first contacted me because I'm the guy. You do research. I was the first one who did kids event. None of these guys did a kids event.
And guess what? I'm one of those kids
No.
that went to the event. And you were doing it early, because I started 93, 94, and I believe 95, I went to one of your Dollar Gems. In fact, I remember you did so many Dollar Gems. I remember I won one of them. I forgot who was the final. I won one of them. And after that, I was like, man, this is so awesome. The fact knowing, in fact, I remember, I think I still have the trophy at home, because I didn't even see people give trophies out back then. Like, I was like the happiest guy. I felt like I could have retired after that. Like, I was like, I'm going to retire. And I only had like a year breaking. Yeah. So you were doing it, man. And I could only tell you, in that time, early 90s, your jam was going on, and this is community. You were doing the real community work. Of course, you had the Universal Zulu Nation anniversary. You had the Rocksteady anniversary. Those were like the big, like, events. I'm going to say celebration, kind of like anniversaries. They weren't really like jams. But when it came to competition brackets, I can definitely say it was at your.
I helped London when he did Battle of the Boroughs. I helped London when he did Back to Mecca. I DJ for him. I was trying to help him accomplish his vision. I helped Lucky Strikes, rest in peace, when he did his vision. I did a lot of the Zulu party jams when they did breaking events. I was one that put it together. I did my own thing. I was willing to help people who I just want everybody to grow. I didn't want it just to be about me. I'm not looking for that, pedestals. Oh, me. No, I didn't do it for me. I did it for the people, for you guys, where you guys can learn and keep away from the gangs and the drugs and all that. That's what I did it for. And I still do Dollar Jams, and people still don't treat the Dollar Jam like a freestyle session or a Red Bull competition. They just like, when you see the pictures, you see Breaks Crew, Supreme Beans, Ready to Rock, Domestic Apes. You see all these guys, even Josh, even Phantom, all these guys, they all were part of my event. They were kids, man. They were kids. I showed them love. I never did nothing to disrespect anyone. So for them to listen to an old school pioneer to hate on me and then hate on me, shame on you.
And then push you out.
Try to push me and don't make my event successful for the new generation that's coming up now. Because this is how you got to look as a promoter, and this is how I look at it. If there's no events, if I'm not doing events and you're not doing events and this guy's not doing events, how can the kids grow? How can this keep going and going? How can freestyle session or any other B-boy summit, all these jams, how can they get big if there's nobody there? You need the young ones to grow into it so they can keep your events bigger and better. Not even once I was even offered to judge, DJ, done these big events. It wasn't for me. All these kids from Brooklyn, New York, and all these breaking crews would have never went to your event. So even pro amps, all these people, they all never show me the love. Never show me the love.
In fact, I will have to side completely with you. I'm gonna say I'm one of the products of those kids that went to your event, because I could have chosen being down with Latin Kings. I could have chosen to be down with a Blood or Crips or Nieta Familia. You know, I'm from Dykeman, Uptown Manhattan, Washington Heights. And you know, in the 90s, before Giuliani came in power, it was freaking nuts. Yeah. Like the gangs were everywhere. And by having dollar jams and me losing at those dollar jams, it gave me a fire to come back and train. So what I will do, instead of thinking of joining the gangs or going with one of my buddies to rob a car or do something stupid, I was training. And I wasn't the only one training. There was a lot of kids training, boys and girls, because they wanted to go to the Dollar Jam, because there was nothing out there. And I would go all the way to Brooklyn. Of course, I would get in trouble when I went back home because, you know, we'll end and I'm taking the train. The train would take forever. So one of the things, you saved me, and I appreciate you for doing that, giving us that platform. Maybe my generation are not saying this to you, and maybe the generation after me are not saying this to you, but you definitely are a staple, and you one of those guys back then that had your arms open. I remember the first time you met me, and then the first thing you said, "Oh, so you break? Okay, so guess what? I'm gonna invite you to meet the creator of Headspins." And I was like, "What?" And you gave me the address, and I met you. You had there was like a boxing thing there. Yeah. And then you were like, you were like, "Okay, look to the right." And I looked to the right, and I just see Kid Freeze spinning on his head. He had handcuffs, and he was doing a bunch of crazy things that I couldn't even believe. It was me and little Josh. And after that, you opened like the door to Pandora's box of hip hop. Like it was like, burn. I met Break Easy through you. I met Q Unique. I met because he was DJing and you were DJing. Crazy Rock. I met so many people, and I thought like I was one of the young kids doing it. But then I realized you had Breaks Crew, you have Breakthrough under your wing, you had RTR.
Supreme Beings under me.
Supreme Beings was under you too. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you were there. So for those OGs that are talking about that, I'm saying it right now. They shouldn't be saying, and they should be ashamed, because I was there and I'm a witness. And there's a lot of witnesses out there that can actually say your name. And if they're not saying it, they got an issue, because it was there. And I'll show you some of the clips of one of the places that I first went to. Maybe you've seen it, maybe you haven't, but tell me what you think of this footage. What's this right here and where this is at?
Oh, this is St. Barbara's Church.
And
that's Louis from, he used to be on Break Easy's first partner. And that's Charlie UpRock.
Look, Charlie UpRock. That's one of the first spots that I went to back then. Look at that.
We had free practices. We had over 200, 300 kids practicing there.
I know, and I was one of those kids.
Yeah. They're from Incredible Rockers.
So who's that? That I see the shirts. This Incredible Rockers.
That one on the back, turn to the back. That's Mike. His name is Pax. He's the original Incredible Rockers.
It's Break Easy, right?
Yeah, that's Break Easy.
Shout out to Break Easy, man. That's another brother that helped me a lot. So this is a spot that you used to have what days? Because I can't really remember.
That one was Tuesdays and Thursdays.
That's correct. Look at that, man. You know how many bruises I got from that floor?
That was a church. You see that church right there? It's a historical church because that's where they had the first rocking contest in 1973, and all the rocking battles happened there too, and DJ battles. I got the flyers.
Look at that. So
I got
I
the
can
flyers.
actually say I actually went to that spot that is historical.
Yep. Matter of
That's
fact,
so dope. That's
I remember we had one time, and Rosie Perez came with Bobito and Crazy Legs. They came to support me because I know her very well because her brother was my best friend, Rosie Perez.
wow. Look at that. Look
We
at
went
that.
to
It's a
Greener High
small
School,
world.
162. I was the drummer in 162. Everybody
Look
knows
at
me as
that.
RC the drummer. I played
RC
drums.
the drummer.
I played professional drums by 14, 15 years old. I was already good.
Yeah,
I played with jazz
I
band.
saw footage of you in Russia
Oh
playing.
yeah.
the drums.
I was rapping, and the one that you saw in Russia was not really Russia. It was me in my house in Connecticut, and I was playing to Just Begun, just to play the beat.
Oh, so I guess the Russians,
Yeah, they
the
put it up. Yeah,
promoters,
yeah,
they put it up in Russia
yeah.
because it
But
was
I
all
went to
in
Russia.
Russian.
I was rapping. I was DJing, and I started rapping because I used to rap, and they were shocked. They didn't know I could rap good.
So you still rapping, or are you leaving it for the
Nah,
rappers?
I mean, I got songs. I did freestyle songs. I got a song, "Why Did You Lie?" I did a lot of freestyle stuff with. I used to manage Trilogy. I helped TKA. I helped a lot of these freestyle artists. I was in there. I was in the listen. Every time somebody saw me, I'm doing something new. Like, yo, what are you doing now?
Which
Doing
is true
freestyle.
because I saw this picture and I was like, "Look at Ralph." Boom, right there. What was that all about? Talk to
Oh,
me.
this is on Richie Rock, and that's my partner Navidad. Right? His name is Felix Cortez. He does the Arnis. He's an Arnis instructor. He just did a movie
Oh,
with Bruce
okay.
Willis. And we did the B Street tour. We went to Virginia to judge a contest. Because I was supposed to be in B Street, but I was on the SAG. So they didn't use me because I was under the union.
Oh, you were under that union.
Yeah, so they took me out. So
Oh, okay.
so Richie Rock, he did Electro Boogaloo Part 2. He did the Hershey commercial. He did a lot of great things. He was part of Dynamic, and also Navidad was part of Dynamic. But then me and Navidad, we became Dynamic Breakers because we left
Oh, I
Glide
see.
for some issues with Spider and them, and that's when we turned over. I turned over with them. I became Dynamic Breakers, and Dynamic Dolls were with us also. Kim and
So
them.
now, were
Brenda
you
K-
like in a music band or something? Because this looked like you're part of like a salsa crew or
No, this group
something,
right here is my
R&B group.
freestyle group. It was called. I created this crew.
Oh,
It's called 2 times 2 equals 4 guys, and we had the song "Why Did You Lie." I still have it.
that's amazing. So this is your freestyle career.
Yeah, that was my freestyle. We were the first freestyle group that sounded like a Boys to Men. But I did the rapping on there. I did more of the rapping than this. I sang a little bit, but the guy next to me, he was more of a singer, and the guy at the end, he was a really great singer. And Chino was the guy downstairs. Chino, he was a good singer too. But I was the last, but I was the best rapper. I rapped. I did all the rapping on the tracks, and I
That's
wrote the
amazing.
tracks and I produced the tracks.
Look at that. And I know you were mentioning earlier about the dollar jams and you're still doing them. I'm gonna put one of the flyers up there, and that
Yeah,
was
that
one
was
of your
my last dollar jam I did with the Bushwick Twins, and the Bushwick Twins, they did a can. It's like 9 feet tall, and they put like Bruce Lee on it, and they did something special that they for UpRock, and they put all the legends on the can. I got them to put all the legends. We
Oh
created
wow,
this
who got
can
that
for rock,
can?
huh? It looked like a
Who
spray
got that?
can. It looked like a spray
I
can.
know, but who got that can?
Oh no, the Bushwick Twins. They're the one who he created it. And then I told him, listen, I want to do something for rocking, but he got one with Bruce Lee on it, Roberto Clemente. He's got something about Puerto Rico with all the different flags of Puerto Rico and different boroughs and barrios, And he has some other one. He's doing major cans about hip hop, stuff, freestyle, rappers, everything, breaking. He's gonna do his next one. He's doing with breaking with a tribute to everybody. We're not trying to discriminate anybody. From Frosty to everybody, whoever, it's like a puzzle. Whoever's in that puzzle, we want to put and give love to them. Want to give them their love.
Yes, yes. Now I have a flyer here from 1981, and what's that about?
Oh, this one is when we battled Touch a Rock to see who was the best crew. We beat Touch a Rock. That's why you see number one in our shirt.
Mm-hmm.
And that number one doesn't come off until you could beat our crew.
That's correct. And how long you guys reigned everything, like in the sense
Well,
of
we beat them. We beat them like twice. We beat them twice, and then there was like the major one. Then we beat them, and then after that, nobody could beat us. Dynasty was number one. We was an all-star team. Danny Boy was, Tony, Black Tony. We had White Boy Tony. Carlos, of course. We had a good crew. Nobody could stop us. Nobody could beat us. Little
nice.
Tito, Little Bebop.
Now this picture, tell me what memory does it bring you? Like, talk to us about how did it get to that? What's that right there? I know that's K1.
This was my wedding. When I got married. I've been
What
married
year?
for 25 years. So K1 got down, Kid Freeze got down, Brian was there, Fast Break was part of my wedding, and we had Breaks Crew there. We had BKC, they got down. My nephews, they knew how to break a little bit, they got down. So this is K1 busting out a move for my wedding because they started playing Break Easy, started playing some break beats, and then Shockalock got down, and my mother tried to battle Shockalock in a dance contest.
That's funny. No. I noticed because you kept boxing, you kept doing things. I see you here with the man, one of the legends himself, Holyfield.
Yeah, Holyfield signed one of my fighters that I used to train, Matthew Gonzalez. And they signed him to a 10 package, 10 fight unit. And he came to my gym and he saw me sparring. He's like, "Who's that young guy?" And then it was like, "That guy ain't young. That guy is old." And when I took the headgear off and everything, he's like, "How old are you?" And I was like, "Oh," at that time, I think it was like I was 57. And he goes, "Yo, don't you think you're too old to be sparring?" I'm like, "No, I bet you I spar you. I beat you too. Get in there." So then we started talking. And I told him how I worked with Mike Tyson when he was a kid, and Shannon Briggs, and we got along. We two Christians got along. I'm a Christian, so we just talked, and he's a great guy, man. Great guy to talk to. Great guy.
Amazing. Now there's now I know that you're Dynasty Rockers and you're doing your thing and you're King UpRock all the way when you beat already Little Dave. Now through your career, you're learning UpRock and you're getting better. You're doing events. What was the first Dollar Jam you did? What year, if you can remember?
The first Dollar Jam was 94.
So it was 94.
Yeah.
So how many Dollar Jams will you do? Because it felt like you did a lot of them.
I did a lot of Dollar Jams from September to June.
Like, was it an every weekend thing?
No, every month, once a month.
It was once a month. That's
month.
why because I don't remember.
No, once
early
a month.
90s. So I'm trying to
July and August. I don't do Dollar Jams because I usually go on vacation. So that was my wife and my kids. I got 3 boys and 1 girl. So my oldest son was my partner in the beginning when he was young.
How old is he now?
He's 36.
Wow. And so is he super proud of King UpRock?
Yeah, he was part of it. He was there with me. He was there with Breaks Crew. He was the UpRocking crew, the rocker for Breaks Crew.
Did I ever meet him?
You might. He had always a shirt called Baby Freeze. I don't know why he wanted to call himself Baby, but he loved Kid Freeze, so he wanted to call himself Baby Freeze. He was at the point. He was at the point also. Me and him did a routine in the point. And when Breaks Crew battled 401 Rockers, which it wasn't Crazy Legs. Crazy Legs didn't teach them. That was Crazy Rock that taught those kids.
Yep, that's correct.
They tried to battle Breaks Crew, and then when my son, when they came to UpRocking, my son went out and battled 401 Rockers, and he beat those kids. But they didn't know how to UpRock. But he knew how to break too. My son could break too. And my little son, who's now 25, in the same barber jam that you showed before, he was there. He was like 3 years old, and he was breaking already. Because I have a footage. Amazing. If you search for it or you ask like Tiny Love, he has a lot of those footage of the same barber jams. And my son was there breaking at 3 years old.
Which I would love to interview Tiny Love. I never met the brother face to face, but I know I probably saw him a bunch of times near us, like just in the scene. Yeah, I seen his face, but I've never met him
Oh, okay.
because I ended up moving to Florida in 2004. But before that, I know we probably ran into each other, and we were
Yeah.
in every event.
Yeah.
We were going everywhere. But unfortunately, you don't get to meet everyone because
Yeah.
it's difficult to meet everyone. Like, and earlier you were talking about that. Something you would like to change is unity. Like
Yeah.
people need to unite more instead of like just talking more trash about people. Besides unity, what is something you will contribute to the hip hop culture to make it better, or
Well,
something you're already contributing?
I'm
Because I
a,
know you already
my
contribute so
contribution right
much.
now is the jams, the knowledge. I'm trying to do. I'm still doing big things right now. Ralph McDaniels called me from Music Video Box. He wants me to do a couple shows. I'm not doing the show, and if I do the shows, I do with the kids. I pay the kids. I don't pay myself. I give the money to them. And I'm just trying to make sure that these kids understand that this is like a sport. If you want to be good, you have to put in if you want what you're going to get out of it, and never disrespect or never underestimate anyone. Always keep humble, and you always be respected.
Now you're learning. You're a coach basically. So all these kids are getting coached by you. How do you feel about breaking going to the Olympics?
I listen. Anything that's good for these kids for them to try to accomplish something different that we didn't get to. Hey, listen, it's a different decade. You know what I'm saying? We didn't get the opportunity for some reasons, or like Dynamic and New York City Breaker Chino. He was trying to bring that to the Olympics. Try to battle the Olympics with New York City Breakers, and that was something that was in their vision. Didn't get to happen, so we should not stop it from some young kids. Now, the only thing I don't know is how it's going to be judged, what's the music they're using, and what's the rules. Because now breaking is a little different. Like if you ain't doing footwork and you just do like some funny head spin, oh, you won, but you ain't doing no footwork, no top rock, like no basics. Like a lot of the basics are either going to be in it or it's not in. I don't know the rules of it. That's why when they called me, they were asking me opinion, and I even made a sheet of how you can judge the Olympics if it was going to be Olympics. But since I got kicked out, I took my sheet back, and I didn't leave. Thank God I didn't leave it with them, because they would have took my idea and ran with it. Because now you have like I said, you have all these big guys who do big events, Battle of the Year, Cross One, everybody's in there but me. And I don't know why they will say don't use King UpRock, because I'm the only guy who do kids events. So your events got big because of me.
You've been doing kids event forever.
Yeah, so why you gonna kick me out, whatever? I know it's a politics thing. If that's how they feel, more power to you. No hard feelings.
Now we're in 2022, and breaking's supposed to go to the Olympics in 2024, and we're not there yet. And one of the things that I remember a long time ago, and I mentioned it on one of the previous shows that I did, is I remember live the Alieness said that all of us are still in the lobby hanging out, and we haven't even gone on the elevator to meet the people that are running the Olympics. So they're checking us out. So it's not 100% confirmed that we are going to be there, because anything could happen. Egos could clash with each other, and boom, they could say, you know what, we don't want to work with these thugs. You know what I'm saying? So,
well, you know what? If we can't go right and we get kicked out, and those guys get kicked out, because I'm not part of it, so I'm not even worried about it. I'm not going to get a hard feeling. I feel bad that it's not going to happen. But why would you want other people to go and do something that you pay the price and you sweat to make this happen to this day? That's why there's people right now coming back that you never even heard after 30, 40 years.
That's correct.
Bboys. They're the first this, they're the first that. And they can't even get down. They can't even bust one move. I still could go down and do footwork. I guarantee you I'll do a head spin, windmill. I know I can still do it. You know what? But the point is that you're gonna hate on everybody else. And now this new hip hop museum in the Bronx, they don't even got none of us Brooklyn cats in there. They put in the West Coast. The West Coast, of course, should be in there, because they did tremendous things in the West Coast and even other countries. But not to put Brooklyn, and you're gonna put other people, it's a disrespect. I think the museum in the Bronx. I'm not gonna really. They ain't putting us Brooklyn guys in
So
there.
no
Flowers.
Brooklyn cats are there?
Nope, not in there. And we before breaking. We've been up rocking from the '60s to now. And Apache's not gonna be. Apache's still alive. Rubber
Well,
Band is dead.
according to the people that I've spoken to about that Hall of Fame thing, I heard that it's gonna be done every year. So
No, not
for
talking about that.
everyone,
I'm talking about the museum, not the Hall of Fame. Listen, that Hall of Fame
oh
thing that happened.
yeah, I'm just learning about all that
Yeah,
stuff.
that Hall of Fame thing with they gave you that I forget what it's called. It's like a kind of award. I was
Well,
on there.
it's a citation.
Like
It's a
citation.
positive.
I was
It's a
on there.
positive citation.
I was on that. I'm number 6. I even send you a picture. I'm number 6. I didn't even get an award. I went there for no reason. I went home. I went to work. I didn't get an award. My name was on there, and I didn't get an award. So why they made me go there for? I mean, everybody that was there deserved one. I'm not saying nobody deserved one, but there was people there like Ace, who's the founder of Dynamic, didn't get one. Charlie Chaz didn't get one. I didn't get one.
So
But my name was
Ace
on
is
the
the
list.
founder. Ace is the founder of Dynamic Rockers.
Yes, he is. Astoria, yes, he's the
Oh,
founder.
okay. That's so interesting, man. Like everyone got like a different story. Like
No, it's okay. You
according
can tell your
to
story,
their
but listen. You only could believe your own lies because the truth will come free. What don't come out in the wash will come out in the rinse. Remember that.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely.
And if you lie,
So
people around the world they're gonna respect you even less because they're gonna say they can't trust you because you lie. You're trying to. It's like I said. Listen, if there's B-boys and who complain that they were first, whatever, you never supported nothing until this Red Bull came out, and to now they want to come out and just say this museum. They want to be a part of it. I'm not saying they shouldn't be part of it because I'm not the one to say that, but you never supported it. You never came out. Nothing. You just now you want to be in a museum because you want to claim you did something 20, 40 years ago. Where were you?
now, do you feel it's because none of us took the time to do that and they ended up doing it?
Listen,
Do you
breaking
think?
was always in commercials everywhere. Even in the 80s when it was big, they wasn't around. Okay, so you can't get credit for something you were MIA. You can. If you retired, then you retired. What am I going to tell you? Like right now, I bought Rocking Back. There was no Papo 774. There was no Papo Love. There was no Ringo. There was none of these dudes. These dudes came later. Everybody when I told everybody, even Papo 774 from Dynamic Spinning, I told them, yo, I'm bringing Rocking Back. I'm teaching kids. The first thing they all told me in Bushwick was, yo, RC is on Angel Dust. He's smoking or sniffing something funny because he think he's going to bring Rocking back. And when Rocking came back, they all came and jump on the boat. Nobody wanted to help me. Nobody wanted to support me. Only Danny Boy, Little Dave. I like a couple of them. Mr. Luz, Burns, Forrest, like a couple of them. But the major guys who didn't care, didn't even want to be part of it. Now, they want to go fly here, fly there. I'm an old school rocker. Yeah, all right, whatever. You ain't do nothing, bro. You came in rock still. You suck. I don't care what you say.
And it's funny because you went all the way to Russia to prove that. So, like, you've been doing this. So it's not. They took you to Russia. You battled. Who was it that you battled up there?
Papo 774.
Papo 774. And was he from your time?
He's from Dynamic Spinners.
Okay, so then he came back because I never heard of him until I saw him come out when he came out. No hate to him. I'm just saying what I saw back then in the 90s, early 90s, when breaking started coming back. I saw yourself, Break Easy, Burn One, Mr. Loose, Forrest.
Maybe Charlie UpRock. We got to put Charlie UpRock in there.
Yeah, yes. I did see Charlie UpRock.
You guys see Charlie? Yeah, he was there for a little bit. He was there for a little bit.
Yes. I remember that. And then he kind of like didn't see him that much. Who else can I think of? Pete Rock. Pete. Old
Yeah,
school
Pete.
P, I call him.
Well, Pete was a b-boy, but getting more. He was
Yeah.
trying to bring the breaking back with me. He was trying to help me bring the.
Yes,
with
and
the
I remember
vocals.
him up
Yeah,
rocking because then I saw
yeah,
him again in Florida. He
yeah.
moved out here and he was up rocking too. And I was like, okay. But then it was like a fever that came in. You will make me point, you can actually point and mention what year it just came in like a tsunami because I didn't hear rocking until then. Once you started bringing it back, and recently I'm seeing rock dance in every battle, in every event. Even Red Bull
Well, you
did
know,
like a rock.
the people in the beginning who helped me out in Florida was Numbers. Numbers was part
Were
of
numbers that
Rocksteady.
used to be down with Rocksteady crew back
Yeah,
then?
he was Rocksteady one time. He left
Wow.
Rocksteady. He loved up rocking. He got with me, and we became like brothers. And he was the one that brought me to pro-amps. It wasn't that Speedy paid for me. No, Numbers paid for my ticket. He paid for me to stay with him and teach. You know, he was my sidekick,
Mm-hmm.
of Numbers. And Numbers was the one that brought me to my pro-amps in, I think it was 1999. And I tore that jam up.
I never forget when you went up on stage. I remember that year. I believe Chino and I went with Incredible Breakers at the end. I remember Chino and Brian, yourself. I think even Rockefeller jumped up there. And I never forget when you went up there, you just murdered it. I was like, damn. Well, I already been seeing you doing it all this time. So it's not like for everyone that was watching you that, I'm looking at them like, I know him. I know him. It's one of my teachers. Like all of them were like this because they've never seen the
No,
real rocking.
yeah.
And you weren't up there. You were doing your thing, your character. Then I started noticing that they were doing like these. You guys started doing. I don't know who was in charge of that, but then up rocking started coming in harder. And I believe you ended up throwing down kind of exhibition battle against Little Josh from RTR
Mhm.
Phantom.
Yeah.
You remember it was like some event and you guys were on stage and then you guys just start up rocking, but it wasn't that big. Like it was big because you were doing it, but it wasn't as big as now. Like every event I see
Yeah,
rock
but
dance battle.
what happened was with Numbers doing it first. Then I met Danny from Las Vegas. You know, Danny lived in Florida, but he went to Vegas and he came down with me. And then I met
Mm-hmm.
FT from Russia. And then, I met I went to BIS breaking in Shanghai. Danny
Okay.
brought me out there. I had like 600 people in a class. I never had that in my life. It was a big place, like a stadium. And I had to
Mm-hmm.
teach all these guys little by little. And Alien Nest hooked me up with that event. That was Alien Nest that hooked me up.
And what year was that?
I would have to say 2000 and maybe 12, 11, something like that. I want to make. I'm not too sure too far. I know I've been there. It's been a couple of years I haven't been there. So since the pandemic, but I was going there, and I went to Russia almost every year since the pandemic. I haven't been back. And Russia,
Eh,
they had a 10-year anniversary like 4 years ago, and there was 150 rockers on Apache line. One of the biggest
Wow.
rocking things I've seen in Russia. FT.
Have
We
you
have a
never
we have
saw
a
that
group. We have a
before?
crew called For the Rock. Dynasty and For the Rock. And For the
Mm-hmm.
Rock, when they get good, they become Dynasty Rockers. So FT is my vice pres in Russia, and he's doing great things. And now I have Charlie Chillout from Las Vegas, who just won the Red Bull.
Yes,
And
Charlie
he's winning
Chella.
a lot of these contests. And he was a b-boy, but now he's rocking.
And you went out there. The first time you went to Russia was like in 2010 around there, right?
Yeah, about 2010.
Yeah, because I know I got a little bit of footage of you throwing down there. Let me see. This is actually the clip, right?
Yeah. That's it. We couldn't fit him in a studio, so we had to go to a parking lot.
Too many people.
Everybody in there wanted to take the class. So I did a demonstration.
So how you felt about that? The fact that were you overwhelmed when you saw that? You were like, what?
No, I knew that my vision, I was gonna take it worldwide. That's what, I'm a fighter. I'm gonna win. I
Yeah.
believe in myself.
So you went out there alone, or they flew
I went
anyone else?
alone by myself. Everywhere I went by myself.
So freaking dope, man. All those Russians are watching you, like studying you like crazy.
The classes was they learned so much about me as a person and the dancing, and I even showed them some stuff about breaking that I used to do, whatever. And yo, they was amazed. They're like, wow, this guy does everything. They just saw me DJing. I DJ in a club. People were
Yes.
fighting to get in
And
just
a
to
lot
hear
of
me
people don't
DJ.
know you're a DJ. They probably think you're just an up rocker.
Yeah, yeah. I got listen.
Yeah,
I have 80,000 records in my basement.
and you said it earlier in the beginning of the show that all the elements of hip hop, you basically do them.
And I used to write Presto as my tag or Kaz because my last name is
Nice.
Casanova, so I used to write Kaz.
Oh,
But
that's
but then
so
my
dope.
friend who Jerry, he was a good artist. He drew me this hand, like a magic hand, and I like the name Presto. I don't know. I wanted to change it. I like Presto, like psych, So he
Yes,
drew me a hand,
yes.
and I wrote my name Presto. I have it on one of my records. Old tag that I did. So I did everything, and I did the rapping, and of course the dancing, and I loved all the dances. The only dance I never did was whacking.
Yeah, now I found some footage in one of my VHS tapes that I converted digital. And I remember we're in hip hop, so sometimes we end up getting upset with our own brothers and sisters for
Yeah.
whatever reason. You feel some type of way, and then you like, I'll see you. Wait till I see you. I'm gonna battle you, and you want to battle. I remember a situation that happened, and I'm not trying to bring anything up, but it's good because the footage is there, and I want to use it. So tell
Yeah.
me about what went down. If you don't have to tell me, but this is something that I witnessed with my own eyes. And I remember that I was so confused standing there, like, wait, my superheroes are battling. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because people are going against each other. So, what was this all about right here? You remember this? And it's that
Oh.
old school drama. You don't have to bring it up, but I was just saying, when I saw that footage, that's when I got that. What year was this? Wasn't this 97, 98 around there? But I was so confused because I was like, why is a b-boy battling like Ralph that he's up rocking? Like, I'm like, I was so confused. Whatever happened, it doesn't really matter, but it's just funny that I found that.
It's good that it happened because like I said, I'm from Brooklyn. Ness is from the Bronx. Ness was very cocky. I was very cocky when I first started up rocking. I was telling everybody, I'm gonna beat everybody. I'm gonna beat this guy. I'm gonna beat that. I'm gonna beat this guy. So I was the same way. So he's a younger guy than me, and
Mhm.
there was talks, because of Rocksteady, whatever. We went to the point. We killed the point, whatever, and people know it. Proof. We have the videos and pictures. So, like I said, it's all about the dance floor. Whether he wanted me to break against him, I told him, listen, I don't break that much no more. I haven't practiced for a long time.
Well,
If
of
you give me
course
a
you want
couple
to
months,
break with you because you're not breaking. That's kind of
no,
the
but I
smartest thing
used to
to
break.
do.
I was breaking before, but I told him, I said, listen, I haven't break for a long time. Give me a couple months, I'll get back into it, and I'll battle you in breaking because I don't care if I lost.
Yeah, so
But the
it's
thing
like if
was,
you would have told him you got to up rock against me, you
yeah. So
can't
I told him,
break.
okay, you up rock against me, and then I'll break against you. And he didn't up rock, so I didn't break.
Now, talk to me about this to see. Have you seen this footage, or tell me if you remember something of this? What is
That
that
was
right
at
there?
that jam was I think at the that looks like St. James Park in the Bronx.
Does a name? Let me see. What was the name? I forgot the name.
But that can't be more because the other one was called the Montrose practice was the Montrose. But
You were with, I believe, Willie something,
oh
Willie Marine.
Marine Boy, that was yeah. We was at a jam at the St. James, and he wanted me to do some dancing with him because I never heard of him back in the days. So I
Also, he
tried to show
wanted.
him love. and
Yeah.
it didn't work out.
Oh, it didn't work out.
No, because they don't dance like we dance, and I thought that it would be better if we just you do your style, I do my style, but
But what is he
after that
doing?
there was
Because that's
talk.
like lofting almost.
Yeah, but that's the way they say it on UpRock. I can't take this. Everybody's style is different. Manhattan's dance different than the Brooklyn. Even Brooklyn, parts of Brooklyn like Bay Ridge and Williamsburg dance different than Bushwick. Bushwick had their own style. To me, Bushwick had the best dancers. Willie Boy, I respect Willie Boy, but Willie Boy sometimes talks too much and says things, negative things, and then when you approach him, he's like, "Oh, I like, what? If you can't show me respect the way I show you, then you do your thing. I just do my thing. That's it. I'm not gonna make it a big issue. It's not worth it. You know what I'm saying? I know what I'm gonna keep doing. I'm still doing it. Where are these guys?
Correct. And you say no more after that right there. Where you at right now? Like, I'm still here. Now, do you feel there's a lack of respect for the elders in the hip hop culture from like
Yeah,
the new
because the
generation
elders,
and generation after you? Just
yeah, the
elders in
elders,
general.
there's a lack of respect because the elders deserve it. Because when you bring negativity, instead of talking about yourself and what you accomplished and what you did and respecting others, there's never gonna be no lack of respect. But once you start dissing people, like Glide said, his brother burned Dynasty one by one. Your brother never danced Dynasty because Dynasty never went to USA. I'm the only guy who went to USA. I went there before your brother and you. So you
Wow.
can't say things like that. If you're gonna say things, say who's the crew and make sure that you're saying the truth. Right there, I caught you in another lie. And now I got less respect for you because you keep lying. And you didn't invented the power move. Stop that. Let's go. Kid Freeze is the man. Give the man his crown. Okay. You did do great things for Dynamic. You did great things, routines. You did a lot of great things. And I heard your interview. But you got to stop dissing everybody else. You got to stop that. And if you can't let things go like you said you can, and you say you're a Christian, God's not going to forgive you either because you have to forgive others. I had to forgive people that did me wrong and go to them and ask them for forgiveness, even if I didn't do anything wrong to them. I had to ask them, forgive me if I did anything wrong to you. So that showed how much a Christian I am. I'm trying to be a better Christian, and I'm still trying to be a better Christian. I'm growing every day as a Christian. So when you're a Christian, if you can't forgive, God can't forgive you either because you're a sinner just like everybody else. You ain't better. Nobody's perfect. We're all sinners, but we try to be better in Christ. You know what I'm saying? Kid Freeze is a Christian. You see Little Caesar, he's a Christian. This girl, what she does, B-Boy Summit. What's her name? The one who
Asia
does
One?
B-Boy Summit. Huh?
Asia One?
Asia One, she's a Christian. When I saw her at Red Bull, she was shocked that I told her I was a Christian. You know, I forgive everybody who did me wrong, but you know what? I just now focus on me and my path and what I'm trying to do next. I don't do too much like I used to, but I'm still involved in a way a little bit. But I'm trying to work on ministry. I'm trying to work on my salvation first because how can I tell some people to be the way I am if I can't be? I have to actions be louder than words.
Correct. Now, what is something people seem to misunderstand about you?
They listen to the gossip. That's all. Learn from
They listen
yourself.
to the gossip and they just don't go directly to you and ask you.
Well, yeah. Just say to yourself, "What did I do to you that you would be mad at me?" And if I did something, you should have the right as a man to tell or woman to tell me what I did wrong. But I've never ever disrespected anyone. I will give you the shirt on my back if you need food. When Frosty was dying and he needed help, I was the one helping Frosty. And Normski's brother us two were the only two guys helping Frosty when he was in his last days.
When you had guys like in his crew that had all the funds and everything, didn't
Well,
even.
that's them. You know what? If you abandon your crew member, but you know what? He wasn't my crew member, but he was a person. And I
Yes.
didn't look at the Rocksteady name or whatever name he wanted to call himself. I looked at him as him, and he needed help as a person. And I
Yes.
was there to
Yes.
help him with Normski's brother.
Definitely. Now, if you could be remembered for one thing, what would it be?
trying to be great like the rest.
So, but it's you gotta mention one thing that you want to be remembered for. So it's, for example, like if I ask you Bruce Lee, what's he remembered for?
Oh, he's forget it. There's so much, but
You
he's
see what I'm saying? So
yeah.
so but what's the thing that stands out the most with Bruce Lee that you're like Bruce Lee? You think of something
um King of Kung
like
Fu.
I will always say the 1 inch punch. Like that's the thing that I always heard all my life when somebody say Bruce Lee, the 1 inch punch. I know there's way more than that.
Yeah,
I'm talking to a super Bruce Lee fan,
yeah.
so I gotta be very careful with what I say.
But his philosophy was great. So for me, I feel my humbleness and willing to help others. Whether it's
Okay.
dancing or whatever it is, if I can help you, I'll be there for you. That's one thing everybody will tell you, that I got a good heart. I'm a good I am a good person. I'm not that bad person. I mean, the only reason I could be bad or be the person turn evil is if you mess with my family. Of course, anybody's gonna defend their family. But just on a regular tip in the dancing world, I always try to help everyone, and I don't care if they get better than me. That's why Russia, is top of the rocking game right now. Nobody could beat them. Even I have like Kostek from Poland, and I got my other boy Roy from China, Beijing. He's in Dynasty. I got dynasties everywhere in every country. Some guys left and they choose to leave, but my group just keeps growing and growing and growing, and we're trying to keep it positive. That's all.
Definitely, definitely. Now, one of the things that I've realized, of course, you teaching and all that, but I've been dying to ask you this question because every time, I learned uprocking from you, and then I've learned, of course, from Sammy, from
Mhm.
Incredible Breakers, and Brian. Those were my teachers because I got down with
Yeah.
Incredible Breakers, and but I always realized that we were like all family because I know we'll go to Brooklyn, everyone will be like, boom, Brian, Chino, Eddie, rest in peace.
Yeah.
It will be Break Easy, all of them. And it's always a family.
Mhm.
But it was so dope just knowing that brothers that shared the dance floor in the 70s and in the 80s were doing it in the late 90s and then are still around
Mhm.
like yourself. So one of them, the thing that I kept watching when rock dance started getting bigger and bigger, the fact that I could say I'm a rocker too because I learned
Mhm.
from the real rockers like
Yeah.
yourself, Sammy, and all of them. I watched the young generation now, and even dudes that came after me. Why they don't bend their knees? Why they don't go all the way down?
Because nobody knows. Some people don't know about the jerk. The jerk was from Bushwick, and the jerk only
Because they,
helps your
they
back.
look like old people. They look like you guys now. Like they're looking like I know the majority of y'all can't. Some have knee issues. I understand that, but these young kids don't have knee issues. So why is it that they're like when they're imitating? I know they're watching what you guys are doing. You're giving them the style of King Uprock style, but originality. You still gotta have the original jerks and original things. I'm very confused when I see them. As soon as they get on the dance floor, I see them doing, all the old rhythm and stuff, lofting and all that. But that's not what they really, really learned back then because you guys did that.
Yeah,
Do you understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying.
So,
Yeah,
so
but the thing is
try
that
to give me a little. Like
I,
I'm just trying to understand this because I didn't learn like that. And I remember when you were teaching me, when Sammy was teaching me, and I'm doing my up rock, I'm doing whatever, I will go down,
yeah,
like down.
down.
And then here and there we'll jerk and we throw our
Yeah,
hands down. And
yeah,
we don't have to go all the way down
yeah,
because I remember you yourself told me that sometimes you will fake like you're gonna go down and you stop and then you catch them.
yeah.
Hey, like you
Yeah.
had all these really amazing things, but they never go down. They just stay here, and and it's like if they look like they want to be old too, and they're young.
Yeah, but the thing is that the guys who are now coming that came back are teaching these guys supposedly the style they did, and that's what they're learning.
Now, who are your students now, and Well, I know you have 1,000 students, but I'm saying, who are your proteges that you're like, nobody can mess with that guy, nobody can mess with
My
this
top
guy?
guys will be Duck, Grinch, FT, Dynamo. Uh, you have Kaz and Beyond from Boston. You have Roy from China, and I'm talking about like my youngest, like my real good crew, Charlie Chill Out from Vegas. Like those guys right now are holding it down, really. Other students
And
I
who are
had,
who,
I taught Roy, how you call it, Rob Nasty. I taught the Bandit. I taught those guys. They want to be against me, whatever. I don't care. But I
wait,
remember
they're against you
I
now?
opened the doors for you guys, bro. Come on, let's
They're
talk real.
against you now?
Yeah, they team up with certain other old school guys, and I don't know. It just gets sour.
That
It's a
is
waste
so
of time.
weird because in their YouTube channel, you're all over the YouTube channel.
Yeah, well,
They must like something of you. Because if they don't really like you, they'll delete you, and that's it.
Cole Chris, Foots, or I remember I went to Mighty Four and I tore that whole house down. And they showed me so much love. I gave them love, and the girls were breaking, and I was teaching the girls. Matter of fact, Miss Little, first time I ever met her there. And then like, I think a year later, what's his name? That does B-boy contender connection. Moon Cricket did a rock
Oh, Moon
contest.
Cricket, yes, I
I was
remember.
teaching Moon Cricket also, and
I
I went
remember
over
that.
there and I beat Rob Nasty and Miss Little in a rocking contest. I went to the West Coast and I went and joined the contest and I won. And Apache was one of the judges too. And I beat all these guys, man. It's not about beating them. I tell them, don't be afraid to battle because you're gonna know where you're weak at. So if you battle me tomorrow, it's not a disrespect. You want to see where your level of skills is at. You know what I'm saying? And if you do win, well, I guess you pay the price. You went and practice to become who you are. But you ain't gonna just beat nobody if you don't practice. It's not gonna happen. Rocking is
Okay,
a whole record. 3-4
now
minutes. One record could be 15 minutes, whatever, 10 minutes.
you
So
better
you
have
gotta
that
have skills.
stamina.
Yeah, you gotta have stamina.
Now,
Tiny
who
Love,
are
of course. Tiny Love is one of my students. I like Vitamin. Vitamin is
shout
out
out to
there.
Tiny Love? I believe he entered the Rebel battle, right?
Yes, he lost to my guy. He lost to Charlie Chill Out.
That's so dope. The fact that he entered, even though he's not the generation of now, it's just so dope just to see that some of the dudes that were doing it back then are coming in now and they're doing it.
Yeah, but Tiny
It-
Love
it-
is like me. Tiny Love is 20 years plus in this game, in the rocking and popping, and he still enters. Now, I tell you right now, if I wasn't judging, I was going to enter that contest.
wow, that would have been
And I was,
interesting.
listen, if you look at the pictures, I lost a lot of weight. I was ready to go. I practiced.
Wow.
I worked out, jumped rope, hit the bag like I was boxing, running, doing everything. I was going to win that contest.
Now, before we head out, this is what I want to ask you. How was the preparation for you to go to Russia when you had to battle Papo? You were like training, or you were like, I don't care, I'm already.
No, I train. If I'm battling, I'm training. But the problem was, I messed. I was my mistake. The performance of what I did, it was.
Oh, you felt like your performance wasn't
Was whack.
like
Was whack.
really?
Yeah, because we were supposed to dance, and me and Papo have this problem. Papo tried to talk bad about my family, so it became a personal thing. And he was trying to tell my guys from Russia, that this and this and that. They didn't want to hear it. They was like, listen, we don't want no part of that. That's something you got to fix for him.
That's it.
And
Yeah.
he was still talking bad about me to the promoters and everybody. So I lost my head because I wanted to I'm gonna be honest with you. I wanted to fight him. I didn't want to dance no more. Dancing was out.
Yeah.
Now it was about
You
let's go with
let
the
it
hand.
get to you. You let it get to you.
And when I danced, it was like I didn't think I performed. I should have knew to control my temper. I didn't, and I did whack.
And you don't even remember probably what you did, right? Because
No,
you
I
were so
remember what I
angry.
did. I was whack. I did think I know I won, but it wasn't like I should have. It should have been like I'm taking candy from a baby, bro. Because he's not that great of a rocker. Really, to me, he's not that. He's no threat. He's no Danny Boy. He's no Sammy.
Because I know somebody came out here by the name of Papo, and he came to Orlando, and it was a jam called Temple Rock
Yeah.
or something out here.
Yeah.
And I saw some guy named Papo, and people were like, "Yeah, he old school," and he tried me. And I'm gonna tell you, I don't know if it's him.
Yes,
but if
Papa.
it was
Yeah,
him,
Papa Love. Papa Love, BBD.
Yes, and and he knows it. And there's footage. I smoked him so bad in that cipher, and he immediately came up to me. He's like, "Yo, you break where like up there, like up north, right?" Because he saw the incredible breaker style. You know the 1 2 3, 1 2 3. When he saw that, he's like, because you know, Ralph, that as soon as you see someone do that 1 2 3 step, the style that Sammy does in Brian, you immediately gonna know, like, okay, whose style he's coming from.
Yeah.
The same way when I see someone that is one of your students, immediately I'm gonna be like, Grandmaster King UpRock.
Yeah.
He's learning from him, and I could tell immediately.
Yeah.
So your preparation, so you let anger get the best of you.
Yeah.
So
and, like I said, I learned to forgive, but to this day, he said he quit and he got sick or something, and I still try to reach out to him as a Christian, and he still disrespected me in a way. So I don't worry about him.
And we were just keeping in the dance, and I want for the listeners and the viewers that I want you to understand that we're not talking trash. We're just speaking truth in the sense of
gotta speak the truth.
Of dance skills. We're only talking about the dance skill. We're not talking about your moms, your aunt, your family. We're talking about our skills. Either we could say you're whack, you can say I'm whack, but you got to prove it though on the dance floor, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've learned that from you. So it's such an honor just knowing that you're still around. And I am so thankful that you're still the same person I met in 1994, 1995. It's amazing. So for those that are speaking badly about you, that's something they have to deal with themselves. Because if you're doing what you're doing and you're still doing what you're doing, people ask me, if they're saying anything, King UpRock, I let them say what they say. But my experience with you from since I've known you, it's always been love. It's always been, you always been a teacher, and you always been humble. I've never felt no cockiness from you. I've never felt, I don't know. People just have issues, man. Especially now, people have a lot of sensitivity. They're very sensitive now. Like when they don't make humans like your generation anymore with thick skin.
Yeah,
I think that's what it is.
It's
and
loyalty.
A lot of people,
it's loyalty. You need loyalty in this world. There's no loyalty.
Correct.
That's why you see guys jumping from one crew to another crew to another crew. Why? Why are you doing that? It's not going to make you a better dancer. You jump from crew to crew. That doesn't matter if you're in a crew or not. You have to be the dancer to rise up to the top. So,
or teacher to teacher and teacher to teacher, and then they go from
teacher
one
to teacher is pretty. I think it's pretty good because you may learn something from Sammy that you didn't learn from me that can better you. I don't tell my guys, oh, don't learn from Sammy. You don't need to learn. They can learn from Sammy. They can learn from Brian or Chino or whoever. But if you see the level of skill is not really nothing for you, you would say, well, I took the class. There's nothing really there that I saw. Maybe you could learn something from the mistakes that person did. You can fix that mistake and take it and now make it yours. You have to be creative. You have to want it. You got to want it. If you don't want it, your brain can't think nothing. You just can't be a puppet. If you're trying to be a crazy lady or King UpRock or Kent Swift or whatever, you're going to look like us. You got to start changing. And because the way you feel the music is what you have to express.
And what you're going through in your life, right?
Those guys are icons. They have a good following. They've done so much great work in their life. Kenny and all these guys, Dynamic, everybody, New York City Breakers. But, if you're not there teaching and helping, I mean, how you expect to make this grow, and me, they get mad because I teach for free. So they're mad at me. Oh, why are you teaching for free? You're making us look bad. Well, no, I have a 9 to 5. You want to teach and get paid because this is your business. Then that's your business. I'm teaching for free. That's me. So you can't get mad what I want to do. If I want to teach, I want to teach for free. That's me. I work for the city. You know what I'm saying? I plan to retire in 2 years. 62. I want to retire. I've been in the medical field. I've been in the police department. I work in the schools. I'm an engineer. I got all my licenses. I know as I'm working and dancing, I'm doing all these things at one time. I do electrical, plumbing. I do carpentry. I do mechanic work. I can get a job anywhere I want because I have certificates and I go to school and I go to learn. I'm not making money from this dance. It's not going to be able to feed my family. So I mean, I still love it and I still give it the best.
And that's where you do it.
I put
That's
my
where you
own
do
money
it.
in these dollar jams. The only guy who ever helped me was Frank Quinones, JBJ, whoever helped me put money to help me, with the dollar jams. And the other day at the Kids of New York, he got an award, and he deserves that and many more. I hope his family a lot of blessings because he has a construction company, so he was able to put the money. He's the guy who gave Speedy Legs the money for pro-amps, and supposedly I don't know what happened that the money wasn't given to the winners, but he gave them $15,000.
For what programs? The one that passed this year?
Well, no, a couple years. What they did with they did it with what's his name, Mr. Freeze.
Oh, that you be.
Yeah. That was it. That's Frankie Quinones with Mr. Freeze. They're the one who
Oh,
sponsored
I
them.
remember Frankie Quinones. I
Yeah.
think he hit me up on Facebook a long time ago.
The most humblest brother you ever met.
I
And he
remember
supports
that
all
guy.
the events. He's the one who's been giving $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 to the events so the kids can win money. He's the only
Wow.
sponsor that I ever had that helped me out.
And there's a lot of sponsors out there that can help
Yeah,
you
but
out.
I don't know. Every time I try to go with a sponsor, it's always a complaint. Oh, this and that. Like I said, I should be a judge at freestyle session. I should be treated like a guest. I'm not treated. I'm treated like I'm nothing. That's
Now, do
okay.
you feel that if there's 3 judges, all the judges supposed to be from the 80s, or should it be one from the 80s, one from the 90s, and one from the 2000s?
It doesn't matter if you put it that way. You want to make them all 3, or you want to make I don't know. But my thing is, if I'm dancing and this is my era, I don't want to be a judge. I want to win this contest because I want to show the people this is my era. It's not my era no more. You know what I'm saying? Even though if I join, it's not my era. I'm
You
joining
do it for the
because
love.
I do it for the love and the passion. But it's not my era. It's my guys' era. And if my guys join, I don't join. I let them win it. They got this is
Awesome.
where they got to prove themselves. You got this. You got
Nice.
Dynasty on your shirt. Let's show the people what Dynasty is really about. That's how I train my guys.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Ralph, we came to the end of the show, man. It's amazing, amazing. So this is what I want you to do. I'm gonna give you your own screen, and I want you to let everyone know what are you up to these days, where can people find you online, and how they could connect with you, and you could give your own shout outs as well.
Okay.
So I would like for you to just take it away from there. Boom. Go ahead.
Well, you can reach me at kinguprock@yahoo.com, or you can reach me on Facebook, Ralph King Uprock Casanova. I'm on Facebook, and on Instagram, I'm King Uprock on Instagram. My thing now I'm doing is trying to do more ministry with the church. I'm trying to see what I could do and try to feed the homeless, whatever I could do, give out clothes, things like that. I can help out in the community, and I'm still trying to do stuff with some of the young kids. But my main shout out I want to give is to my Lord Jesus Christ for giving me the opportunity to live this long. And, he deserves all the glory. And I want to give a big shout out to my wife and to my kids who see me. I know that I took a lot of time from being with them, or certain things like that. I should have spent more time with them, but they saw my passion. They understood I was trying to do. And all my old school pioneers, Bushwick Rockers from Brooklyn, Queens, Bronx, whatever. I pray for all you guys out there. Hopefully that, one day we go all try to just unite and leave the ego. Because when you have ego, that means you're edging God out of your life. So don't edge God out of your life. Put God in your life. And hopefully we can make better things and teach these young kids because they need us. They need our support as elders. They need our responsibility. It's our responsibility to help them out and guide them so they don't make bad mistakes. So, and I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity. And I love what you're doing. Don't stop what you're doing. If anybody tells you anything and this is your vision, God put the vision in your hand, in your mind to do this. So you keep doing what you're doing. Because at the end of the day, many people need to hear certain things. And sometimes people don't want to hear things, but we have to hear it to straighten things out. And if you want to make it better and you say you want to unite and you want to do better things for the youth, then come out and support. And when I do Dollar Jams, let's see if you're going to be at the next one. Because if you're not at the next one, and I know because you're always in town or whatever, I know that you're not really for the kids. You're for yourself.
That's correct.
That's what it's about.
Yes. And if I'm in New York City and I know there's a Dollar Jam, I'm gonna go straight to that Dollar Jam and I'm gonna be like, yo, what's up? What's going on? It's been a while.
I'm talking about for the people in New York that's still here.
No, I know. But I'm saying when I go out there,
yeah.
I'm gonna make sure I support because I appreciate you for everything you have ever done from the beginning and what you're still doing. And it means a lot just you telling me this because I am loyal to my elders, and I'm loyal to the people that taught me what they taught me, and I will always hold that. I'm not myself if it would have been for you and everyone else before me. Like I would not be doing this. I would have not known what emceeing, breaking, graffiti, DJing. I would not known none of this if it would not been for you. I could have probably been locked up in jail if those Dollar Jams weren't happening. Because
you know what?
I had buddies. I had buddies that were telling me, yo, let's go to Central Park and jump this white lady for that bike. And I'm like, nah, I'm good, man. I gotta go to Brooklyn. I gotta train. And I'll go to the jam. So, it's one of those things. I appreciate
you gotta thank God because God made sure you didn't go that path. Not me.
Correct.
God put me there to open the platform, but God made sure that you didn't go that wrong way. So God is always going to be the first guy you got to thank because every day.
Absolutely, definitely. So He worked through you.
Yeah,
we can say that, right?
I'm working for Him to help you out.
That's right. But I appreciate you for this. Okay. And guys, this is Flash Talks, history worth listening to. I go by the name of Flashback. That's Ralph King UpRock Casanova, legendary Grandmaster UpRocker. He brought rock dance back into the scene. Hey guys, go and support that Dollar Jam. And for those OGs out there, drop the ego, talk to the brother and unite. But again, Flash Talks, history worth listening to. Peace out, y'all. Peace.